Welcome back to the BallGame podcast. I am the innocent bystander, Matt Sullivan.
I'm Trunks.
I'm Ortiz.
I'm Chris.
Oh, I thought you were playing it again. Never mind. Week 2 of the NFL season is now in the books. A couple games from Monday night that, one solid game, one entertaining game, and one not so entertaining game that I pained myself to sit through. First of all, I want to start this one off by saying prayers up to Nick Chubb. That was a disgusting leg injury. The man is probably the greatest runner of the football that I've ever watched in my entire life, in my 10 years of watching football.
Better than Adrian Peterson?
Yes. I didn't get to see a lot of the prime AP years, so
I mean, we saw him come back from the torn ACL and win the MVP.
I wasn't watching football like that back then. So that was like right before I started watching football. But Chubb is the greatest runner of the football that I've ever watched. That I've ever watched, and I think he's top 5, top 10 in NFL history. And for us to see a back like him for probably the rest of his career to be taken away from us now, I'd have to assume, that sucks. That's the worst thing ever. And from all accounts, he's like the nicest guy ever too. And it's just like it couldn't have happened to a better human being and for a worse situation. Like the Browns Super Bowl hopes are pretty much gone. I think we could say that much. I think it rested on the shoulders of the large shoulders of Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
And the large tree trunks of legs that man has. But, it sucks. I feel real shitty about that whole situation. So prayers up to Nick Chubb. And
It sucks.
hopefully he comes back strong.
He injured that same leg
In college.
So
Torn ACL in college, yeah. It sucks. It's the
tore
worst
everything
thing ever.
in college. I saw Adam Schefter posted.
Oh, did he? MCL
Bro,
too? All that?
The way he worded his tweet was like, I don't have it here in front of me, but he listed the whole injury, and then he said, like, after he listed it all,
Yes.
in 2015.
Yes.
And
yes.
all the comments were like, Adam, you can't start a tweet like that. But like,
I mean,
that's
he
probably what
did
happened
all that
again.
anyway, yeah.
But still. Yeah.
That definitely happened anyways. It's the unfortunate
Yeah.
truth of the matter. And I mean, the dude's not that young anymore, obviously. He's 27. He's got some tread on his tires now. He's been through, 6 NFL seasons or so. Thankfully, I will say one thing. The man did get his bag prior to the injury. Thankfully, I will say that. The man did make his money. Obviously, the running back market was getting squeezed, all that stuff. We know that. Chubb got his money prior to this injury happening. And I guess we could find some sort of solace in that fact. But again, prayers up to Nick Chubb, hoping for a speedy recovery. And I hope that's not the last that we see of a strong and fully healthy Nick Chubb. But anyways, we do have a game to cover. We do have a bunch of games to cover. And I guess we'll stick with this game and talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. So the Steelers won by a score of 26-22. And boy, this was a defensive game if I've seen one. So the Pittsburgh Steelers defense scored more points than the Pittsburgh Steelers offense last night. That's impressively bad. I want to start off by saying that the edge rushers in Pittsburgh are the best edge rushing duo in the entire NFL. And I think that Alex Highsmith needs to be given more credit for what he's capable of and how dominant he's been over the last season plus. And I think obviously we all know what TJ Watt is capable of. So I think that Alex Highsmith just needs to get the recognition that he deserves. And it's starting to come around. You saw him on national television dominate, force a fumble. TJ Watt recovers and runs that thing back. So that's how I wanted to start off. What are some takeaways from you guys from the Pittsburgh Steelers side of things?
So, yeah, that's my big note, that Alex Highsmith was the MVP of this game. He had the pick 6 on the first play of the game.
Yep.
Had the forced fumble that led to a touchdown recovery. 91.1 PFF grade from this game. He had 6 pressures along with TJ Watt, who I think also had 6 pressures. Let me double check that.
I think he had 4. I thought I saw a stat.
No, he
that
had
said 4.
7, actually,
Jesus
according to
Christ.
PFF. But yeah, I mean, that Pittsburgh Steelers defense is elite. I mean, you saw Joey Porter make that play at the end of the game. I thought it was a little bit of a hold, but the ref didn't call it. It's not a hold, so, game-saving play right there. the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is bad. So is the Cleveland Browns. This was, a typical AFC North divisional Monday Night Football game. That was what it felt like. It delivered defensive game. But these teams are both in trouble, in my opinion, because of their offenses. In, loaded AFC with teams like the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals if they get healthy, the Chargers, the Jaguars. You need to be able to put up points, and these teams are struggling through 2 weeks to really put up points.
Pickett completed only 50% of his passes in this game.
Yeah. Same thing with Deshaun, pretty much went 22 of 40.
And just sticking on the Steelers side of things, George Pickens had 10 targets, had 4 catches, 127 yards. He had that very long slant that turned into a touchdown. I think we all know Pickens is dynamic. They're missing Deontay Johnson for sure.
They just put him on IR. So.
Yep. And I think Freiermuth got injured in this game as well, and he was dealing with something prior to anyways from the game prior. It got ugly. This game was very ugly because there were a bunch of injuries on both sides that guys were just dropping like flies, unfortunately. The run game for the Steelers was non-existent once again.
Yeah. Najee sucks.
Until one drive where Najee had back-to-back runs of nearly 20 yards.
Yeah.
And he had
43 yards on the game.
10 carries for 43 yards, and 2 of those accounted for, I believe, like 38 of them. So if you do the math, the others are 8 carries for 5 yards.
Yes.
He stinks.
I don't know what happened to him. He sucks.
It's just like he got drafted, and it was Najee Harris is this big back who has that combination of power, speed, and vision, and he's this complete running back with elite size, and it's just like he's regressed as a runner. His vision is I mean, that's the big thing,
bro.
the vision.
You know who it reminds me of? Trent Richardson. This is very reminiscent of Trent Richardson.
It's a good
I
call.
can't help but think about that. They were both Alabama backs. They come to the NFL. They have a great rookie season. Najee was phenomenal. Trent was great in his rookie year as well. We thought they were the next big thing, and then all of a sudden, these dudes can't find a hole for their lives. So,
and the Steelers O-line definitely isn't doing him any favors.
No.
They're not really playing that great. I mean, it's a struggle bus, and I mean, we've said it multiple times. Yeah, it's a passing league today in the NFL, but if you can't establish any type of run game, like, you're going to struggle to put up points.
yeah,
It just opens everything up.
The Steelers' O-line has definitely struggled. It hasn't been the worst in terms of run blocking, but it because a lot of this responsibility does fall on the running backs. A lot of it does. And I need to say Jaylen Warren looked very explosive at multiple points in this game. He had 6 for 20. It wasn't like a super amazing night in terms of him on the ground, but 4 for 66 through the air. We expected that with Jaylen Warren. The guy could catch passes. He's a very good receiver out of the backfield. They need to figure something out here. I can tell you that the Steelers do actually have the 3rd highest pressure rate given up in the entire league. 31% of Kenny Pickett's dropbacks end in a pressure, and he only has 1.5 seconds in the pocket on average. So the O-line's struggling. It is not all on Kenny Pickett. That must be said. Has he missed some throws? Absolutely. But the Steelers' offensive line has struggled to start this season. Big time. And this offense doesn't look like it's on its way to figuring things out anytime soon, with Deontay out especially. So, I don't know. Their defense is dominant. It's so good. It relies heavily on the pass rush. But I will say one thing. They can't stop the damn run.
No.
2 weeks into the season, McCaff went for, 160? And Jerome Ford just went for 120?
And
Chubb had 60.
Bring that up. Yeah. So
Both were averaging over 6 yards a carry. I mean,
Like,
both
the
backs.
Browns are in a tough spot now because they lost Nick Chubb, and Jerome Ford's been good, but is he going to be someone you could depend on? Like, yeah, yesterday he had 106 yards, but his longest run was 69 yards. Take that away.
nice.
He averaged 2.5. Yeah, he averaged 2.5 yards a carry on 15 carries. Like, it's not
It's not
great.
efficient, no.
It's not great.
No.
But it's
So-
Especially for this team who's struggling to get good quarterback play thus far.
Exactly.
You need the run game.
Like, what do you think they're going to do? Are they going to stick it out, or
I mean,
gonna trade?
I think they're going to make a call to their old friend,
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt.
They
I
should.
wouldn't be
They
for
might
sure.
have to.
I wouldn't be shocked if Kareem Hunt's back. I don't think they're going to go out and trade for someone. I just don't think financially they like a Jonathan Taylor. Like that's not
No,
happening.
that's not happening.
Maybe
And
Cam Akers.
Cam Akers was the name that I was
Cam
going to bring
Akers
up.
could definitely be in play there, but me personally, if I was running a team, I'd rather go sign Kareem Hunt and not have to give up, even if it's
I don't think it's going to be a negligible.
it's minimal draft capital, it'll still be a pick, even if it's a 6th round pick, whatever it is. I'd rather.
I think it'll be a swap, a 6th round pick swap or something.
Yeah,
It'll
I'd
be
rather-
negligible.
I'd rather just go sign a guy. And
Okay.
I personally think Kareem Hunt's probably better than Cam Akers. Cam Akers, there's a reason
I
why
just
the
don't
Rams
know.
are
Healthy
fading
scratching
him
this
out.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the Browns are in a tough spot because they look so great week 1. And I mean, the offense didn't look great, but
The defense.
we
looked
thought
really
the
good.
defense was going to be able to carry them. And it's like, in my opinion, the defense played good in this game. I
Yeah.
mean,
It did. No, it did. They think about it.
Their
They only
op-
gave up 12 points.
yeah, their offense gave up more points than their defense did.
Yep.
Like, that's really a problem. I mean, Deshaun Watson, like, let's talk about it. He was dog shit in this game. He was dog shit. You know, he was
He got harassed.
missing
Yeah.
some throws, definitely under constant pressure. But I mean,
No pun.
he is the only quarterback in NFL history to commit 2 face mask penalties in the same game, and it's just like
That was
like,
really bad.
it's
And they
like,
were
bro-
like back to close to back
yeah,
to
and
back.
it's just like, bro, just
Just don't put your hand
If
in
you
their
stiff
face
arm a
mask.
dude in the mask, you could get away with it if you just stiff arm
Let it
him.
go.
Yeah,
Just
just why are you
don't grab
grabbing?
him.
And then, there were multiple times where I thought he was just trying to do too much in the pocket. It's just like, bro, throw the ball away.
Bro,
get
he
rid
is
of it.
turning the ball over
And it's like, I get
like
it.
crazy.
Like, you're going against one of a top 3 defensive line unit in the NFL. So I get it. It's not going to be easy. But sometimes it's like, cut your losses. Throw the fucking ball away. Throw the ball away. Take a sack if you have to. Just stop fucking turning the ball over.
You really do think the pressure, I'm not talking about the on-field pressure, obviously, the off-field pressure too. Like, he's got to be in his own head. He needs to live up to this contract too. Like, he's got to be thinking that the first fully guaranteed, like, obviously outside of the Kirk Cousins one, $40 million just fully guaranteed, was it?
Yeah.
I think it's 240, something like that.
After not playing for 2 years.
Ridiculous amounts of money that he needs to live up to for this team. Now, again, I understand he still has only played like 7 games since he returned to football after a 2-year hiatus, but he had a whole off season, and it doesn't seem like he looks much different from last year. So I will say one thing, I think, and I put in my notes prior to Amari Cooper getting like 3 receptions back to back to back, that Amari needed to be more involved in the offense, and he wasn't until that point. He's too damn good. He's too damn good not to be more heavily involved. Same goes for David Njoku.
David Njoku had, but that's another thing with
And he fumbled.
Deshaun. It's like he did
fumbled.
fumble, which was definitely costly. But it's like that's your check down, right? Take your check down, throw the ball away.
Yep.
Take a sack. Don't turn the ball over. Don't force things down the field. There were a few because I was watching the game at work, and Joe Cruz needed one more point from David Njoku
Oh,
for like the
jeez.
whole second half.
Oh, my
and then
God.
he caught the ball and fumbled, so it
Yep.
negated itself. But I mean, there were multiple times where dude was just wide open in the flat, and Deshaun just was forcing something down the field, and they were bad balls.
Oh,
I
my
mean,
God. The throw to Marquise Goodwin that
yeah, I
almost
mean,
got picked off.
throwing the ball down the field, he didn't look good. Like, he didn't look accurate. He didn't look poised in the pocket.
Nope.
Like, it was bad. It was a bad game. It was really, really bad. It's concerning.
He looked like a rookie in the pocket.
Yes.
He really did. Even when and granted, the Cleveland Browns have been one of the worst pass blocking offensive line, oddly enough, to start the season, while also being the best run blocking offensive line to start the season. Just complete different sides of the spectrum here. Deshaun, even when he had time, looked like he was trying to bolt out of the pocket. Like he was not comfortable in there at all. And that's a problem. Then this is probably going to be a problem that persists for the remainder of the season. So interesting to see where this one goes from here for the Cleveland Browns. I think that's all the notes that I have for this game.
Yeah.
Moving on from
We have
this
a
one.
few before we move on. We have a few people in here asking about fantasy stuff. So first, Pete asks, "Can we talk about the top waiver wire targets for this week?" We'll do that towards the end of the show, Pete.
definitely
We're
will.
gonna have our starts and sits of the week. and then we'll talk about some waiver stuff. Ryan asks that he has Jalen Hurts and DeAndre Hopkins. He's considering trading for Justin Herbert and Mark Andrews in half PPR. What do we think? I'd probably lean with Herbert and
Absolutely,
Mark
I would take
Andrews
Herbert
side.
and Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Andrews is healthy, looked involved, and was on a limited snap count to an extent. 100%.
Yeah, if you could get Herbert and Mark Andrews, I would do that. And then Chaka, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, asks, would you trade Lamb and Waller for Kamara, Andrews, Kyron Williams, and Zach Moss, PPR? Depends on who your receivers are.
Yep, I agree.
If you think you're going to be fine at receiver, then go for it, because CeeDee Lamb's been a stud so far to start the season.
Lamb and Waller, he said?
Yeah, Lamb and Waller.
Is he getting a tight end back?
Andrews, Kamara,
Oh,
Andrews,
my
Kyron
God.
Williams, and Zach Moss.
I'm probably taking that, but that's a lot of running backs.
It is a
That's
lot.
what I'm
Damn.
saying.
But it really depends on who your
You could
receivers
probably
are.
flip. Honestly, you could get Kyron Williams and then maybe flip him after a huge week for another receiver if you
or
wanted
maybe
to. So.
even instead of Zach Moss in that trade, get
receiver.
another filler wide receiver.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to be anyone great, but just someone to fill that spot. But if your other receivers are elite and you think you could afford giving up CeeDee Lamb, then go for it, bro.
And now is the time to go get Mark Andrews too, if you have the opportunity, before he starts exploding, because that Ravens offense looks really, really good, and I want a bunch of pieces in that offense right now. All right, next up, we go on to the other Monday night game, and that is the Saints defeating the Panthers by a final score of 20-17. And damn, this was an ugly ass game.
I feel like this game for the longest time was 6-3. Every time I looked at the
It was.
scoreboard, because I really wasn't watching this game. I was more honed in on the Browns game. Every time I looked at the scoreboard, or the scoreboard would be in the top right corner, it would just always be 6-3. I thought it was broken. I didn't check, but obviously this game kind of finished good.
It didn't really finish great.
No, I'm looking at I'm kind of box score watching now.
Carr and the Saints offense definitely got going a little bit. I will say the pass protection for the Saints has been awful. Carr is under constant duress, constant pressure throughout the entirety of this game, and a lot of credit goes to the Panthers front, granted. But Carr was under so much pressure in this game. He got sacked 4 times, and it felt like a lot more, I'll say that much. They were committed to the run game, the Saints, throughout the night, and it wasn't working. It was not working. Jamal
Running
Williams
backs are just not good.
Jamal Williams is not a good running back. Like, I'm sorry. I love him.
9
Great
carries
guy.
for 29 yards.
Great guy. Entertaining as hell, but he's not a good running back.
And then you got Tony Jones.
Tony Jones, 12 for 34. Granted, a few of those were goal line. I will give him that. Taysom Hill was your most successful running back with 9 carries on 75 yards. Taysom is so much fun to watch. Can I just, he really is just one of the most entertaining players in the entire
Can we
NFL.
talk about that? When he's in the game, how do you not know it's going to be a run?
He did have a pass.
He won, but he was
won.
behind the line of scrimmage.
He had one pass for 8 yards.
Like, it was a screen pass.
Yeah, it
It's
was,
just
but
like,
still.
I don't know, bro. He was getting, 8-9 yards every single
time.
Yeah, average
Every single time.
8.3.
It's like, bro, do something. It's crazy.
I don't remember.
It's just
who it
crazy
was.
that it's been like this for 4 or 5 years now. This
Yep.
Taysom Hill experiment's been going on.
It's
and
not an experiment.
And it seems to work.
He's a
It's-
factor.
Yeah.
He's a factor. There were points where, when Jamal Williams went down, they're very thin at running back right now. Taysom was dead ass the running back. This man plays every position. Not one that he doesn't play. He's split out wide. He's played in line as a tight end. He plays running back. He could throw the football. He had starts at quarterback over the last few seasons. What can he not do? Honestly, you could probably put him on defense.
I was about to say,
He's
one
played
day he's
special
gonna
teams.
he's gonna play
Yeah,
defense.
where
one
would
day.
you put him on defense? You got to put Taysom
I put him
somewhere in your
at
defense.
safety or
Like
linebacker.
linebacker.
Oh my God, bro. Taysom would murder someone at linebacker. He's, and I don't remember who it was that said it, but it was an interesting thing to say. I think it was Mark Schlereth. He said, Taysom Hill needs to be spoken about as one of the greatest football players ever. And I was like, wait a second, what the fuck did that guy just say? And then he goes, not one of the greatest NFL players ever. He's like, what on the football field can this man not do? He's like, nobody else can do what Taysom Hill does.
It's true.
And I'm like, he's right. He's right. Taysom Hill is one of the greatest football players to ever live. Like, he really is. And to think he was an undrafted rookie out of BYU that played quarterback in college, and he's doing all this. So just a super impressive player. And I'm glad Taysom Hill's getting his flowers, and he deserves it right now. Aside from that, Alvin Kamara is clearly going to help this team. Very clearly going to help this team when he gets back.
What was it, 4 weeks that he's out? So 2 more?
3, I think.
3.
3 games of suspension. 1 more game he's out, and then week 4 he's back. One other thing, Michael Thomas seems to be back, and he's good at football.
Thomas looked good.
He's still really good at football. He got targeted very heavily early on, and then it was kind of the Chris Olave show from that point forward. Rashid Shaheed, also a really good football player for this team. They got weapons, man. In the passing game especially, just they need Kamara back, and then the run game can maybe get going a little bit. So,
Yeah, the Saints look cool.
Saints offense was
Not great, but they looked cool.
Yeah.
All right.
they're decent.
But Panthers, Bryce Young doesn't look great.
I think Bryce Young looks
Okay,
fine.
I think Bryce. Maybe I'm crazy. I think Bryce Young looks like a really fucking good football player, and it makes zero sense because his stat lines have looked atrocious, but his receivers got zero fucking separation in this game. They said it on the broadcast. They were like, every throw that Bryce Young is making right now feels like it needs to be placed perfectly for his receivers to even have a chance at catching the ball. What's this man going to do with a 33-year-old Adam Thielen as his number 1 wide receiver right now, and Hayden Hurst being pretty much his second go-to target? I'm sorry. Ain't nobody doing shit with that. I don't give a fuck if you're Patrick Mahomes. You're not doing anything with that team.
I think Patrick Mahomes would.
Mahomes might.
Yeah, it's
No.
Mahomes. It's Mahomes.
Patrick
Mahomes.
Respect him.
Come on.
Bro,
Mahomes wouldn't
No,
get
but
sacked for it.
Bryce looked good.
I agree with you. I don't know if I would go out and say good. I think he looked fine. I think there were a few times where I think he looks like a rookie quarterback, honestly.
He does.
You know, there's times he looks a little bit rattled. I mean, there was one play that was trending on Twitter. Bro lined up under the under
Miles
the right
Sanders
guard.
tapped him, bro. Miles Sanders gave him a little tap. He goes, nope, move over.
So, like, you know, he looks like a rookie quarterback. They set him up for failure, though.
Yes.
He has no weapons. I thought Adam Thielen was great, and I think Adam Thielen would be an awesome weapon for him as your number 2 or 3.
Yes. Agreed.
But, like, you need, you know.
He can't be the one.
And it'll come. I mean, like we've said multiple times on the show, that seems to have been the blueprint for NFL teams over the past 3 or 4 years. Get the rookie quarterback, give them a year or two, see if they got it and if they're the guy you're going to move forward with, and then make the big splash move for the alpha wide receiver.
I know you saw what I tweeted yesterday because you liked it. I said, T. Higgins, you are a Carolina Panther. And he will be, I think. I think it's all but locked in now. They're not giving him a contract, it seems. He's going to be a free agent. Panthers are going to have cap room. Why not? Why the hell not? Go get T. Higgins. It's that simple. So I think that makes the biggest deal for them. I think that changes life for Bryce Young. So, and he seems to have time in the pocket sometimes. So I think this offensive line is only getting better as time goes on. So we're going to see what happens there. Also,
there's no running game. In
nah,
Carolina.
it's really not happening.
Chuba looked okay.
That's 2 straight weeks where Chuba's looked pretty.
Only 2 carries, but
I mean,
There were big carries.
he made up his work in
he's
the
more
receiving
explosive.
game.
Yeah,
Definitely.
he's-
I mean, I think we knew that, though. I think we knew Chuba was more explosive than Miles Sanders.
You know, it's crazy because Miles came in highly explosive, and he doesn't look like he has the same burst anymore. I mean, Chuba definitely needs to get more opportunity here. Also, it needs to be said the Saints defense might need to be taken seriously soon. It might.
Marshawn Lattimore doing what Marshawn Lattimore does. He's been exceptional so far to start the season. I mean, who had the forced fumble? Was it Brian Breesy? Pretty sure Brian Breesy and Cam Jordan both met Bryce Young like together, and I think Cam Jordan hit his arm and actually forced the fumble, but like they were both there.
It wouldn't even surprise me, to be honest.
Yeah, but like they both got instant sheds, and Bryce fumbled.
They have so many underrated players.
Yeah,
on that
no,
defense.
they look solid. I think the Panthers defense looks okay too. Prayers
Agreed.
up for Shaq Thompson,
Yes.
obviously. Jeremy Chin is one of my favorite players to watch play football. I love watching Jeremy Chin. He's just all over the fucking place, in coverage, in the box, getting pressure.
They have a lot of
playing
young
coverage.
pieces on that defense. Pay Brian Burns. Pay Brian Burns, please. He's a game wrecker.
No, yeah, I mean, this was a pretty boring game, but some takeaways. The Saints are definitely going to be a competitive team, especially in the NFC South.
Yes, I completely
The
agree.
Panthers, it'll probably be a bunch of losing this year, but, I don't think anyone really had that high of expectations for them anyway.
No, most likely not.
No.
I thought they were going to be a better team than this, but it doesn't surprise me that they're bad. The weapons really are as bad as advertised, to be entirely honest. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. All right. Well, here we go. Two teams had massive comebacks this past weekend. I guess we could start with this, aside from those two Monday night games. Two teams had massive comebacks. Those two teams being in the same division, and those two teams being the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. I feel like we'll start with Chris's Commanders right now. We'll start with Chris's guy, not even Chris's Commanders, just his guy Sam Howell. And you know what? I gotta put some damn respect on the guy's name.
He looks good.
Sam Howell looks fucking legit.
He's currently
I'm not gonna lie.
He's leading the NFC East quarterbacks in passing touchdowns and yards.
Yeah, he is.
He has 501 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. The other quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts is 363 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Dak has 398 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Daniel Jones has 425 passing yards and 2 touchdowns.
So let's talk
Danny's on his
about
way.
Danny's
on his way,
second.
all right?
Danny's
Danny's number
second.
2.
Danny's number 2.
He's on his way. He's coming. He's definitely coming.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. The Commanders with a 35-33 victory over the Denver Broncos. It was an emotional experience for me as a Sam Howell truther. I predicted the Broncos to win that game. I thought Mile High,
I said
the altitude, all that fun stuff, and it looked that way off the rip. Russell Wilson, I think he started the game like 7 for 9 or something like that, slinging that damn
It
rock.
was like 5 for 7 for 149.
Yeah,
It
throwing fucking bombs to Marvin Mims. The defense looked good. I thought their front was not only getting pressure, but they were very active with their hands, a few batted balls at the line of scrimmage. So their front was getting after it. And then Russell Wilson fumbled. Shout out to Jamin Davis for forcing that fumble
Jeez,
on
bro.
the sideline. Stayed in bounds. Commanders
missed
took,
face mask call, by the way.
indeed, but it happens, to each their own. And then Sam Howell happened. He led a drive with less than a minute left on the clock. Threw a dot down the sideline to Cole Turner.
Yes,
Threw
he
a
did.
dot in the end zone to Logan Thomas that only Logan Thomas could catch. Man got killed and concussed, but it was such a good ball that he was still able to bring it down.
Bro, back-to-back weeks from Kareem Jackson, too,
Yes.
with these dirty-ass fucking hits.
Yes.
I hope that dude gets suspended for a game at bare minimum. That shit's rough. But Logan Thomas, fucking phenomenal catch.
What a catch. And then that Commander D line, they're going to wear you down. As you know how it goes, those elite defensive lines, they get better and better as the game goes on. According to PFF, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I counted it. The Commanders had 37 total pressures in this game. I don't know if that's right.
There ain't no
So I saw a
fucking way.
stat that
36.
Russell Wilson had around 32 dropbacks, and he was under pressure for 21 of them.
So something like that. Probably, I counted it as each player, so there were probably times where it was one pressure, but 2 guys were there type of thing. So, excuse me for that. But Chase Young is back, and I tried to tell people that this guy is a fucking difference maker. He had seven total pressures in this game. He and Montez Sweat both had 7 pressures, both had 1.5 sacks. Jonathan Allen added 6 pressures of his own. De'Aaron Payne, however you
Deron
Payne had 5 pressures of his own. I mean, this D-line is elite. Chase Young was getting after it. He was getting after it. Another guy, something that I always like from defensive linemen, linebackers, whatever, that normally doesn't show up in the box score. be active with your hands. You know,
Yep.
if you're not going to get the pressure, put your hands up. And Chase Young had a very clutch bat down at the line of scrimmage. I thought Chase Young looked incredible in this game. Emmanuel Forbes with a clutch interception at the end of the game. Cam Curl all over the fucking
over the
field. This
Crazy tackle that he made.
Yes, this defense
Of
is
Russell Wilson.
elite. This is a top 5 defense. I tried to tell people. I really did. I tried to push the narrative, but it's coming to fruition now. And Sam Howell outplayed Russell Wilson. 27 for 39, 69% completion percentage. Nice. 299 yards. I would have loved to see him break that 300 mark, but it just wasn't supposed to happen today. 2 touchdowns and an 108.8 passer rating. He was incredible. The balls he was throwing were dimes.
Yo, the Terry throw.
That was
And
amazing.
I mean,
Holy hell.
we've known this about Sam Howell. You know, he's an elite arm. He at times could have elite placement. The problem with Sam Howell is kind of the pocket presence. You know, sometimes he has those happy feet in the pocket. Sometimes he tries to do too much, and that's kind of what it was in the beginning of this game. I thought. I mean, he started the game off hot in terms of like completion percentage and all that, but he was allowing the Broncos D-line to get after him.
Brian Robinson saved a pick.
Yes.
Which, granted, it was a tip pass, but
Yeah.
Brian Robinson made a fucking great play to knock the ball out. When they were down 21-3, by the way,
Yeah.
and would have been phenomenal field position, Brian Robinson changed the whole game.
I mean, shout out to Brian Robinson.
Oh, my God.
87 rushing yards, 4.8 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. He clearly looks like the lead back here, but I mean, Eric Bieniemy still has some plans for my guy Gibby. Gibby had a huge catch in this game that I think it was a catch and run for like 35 yards,
36
something
to be
like that.
exact. Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean, the Commanders looked awesome. Not awesome, because, you know, there was the beginning of the game. There was a reason they were down 21-3, but, you know, the resilience by your quarterback and only his 3rd NFL start, the resilience by the defense who I think is really their leader back in Chase Young, and that's how good I think Chase Young could be. I mean, it's just an all-around great win for them. Start your season off 2-0. Only 9 teams in the NFL could say that. Like, so it's a new era of Washington football. It really is. And I tried to tell people that. I don't know how great this team is going to be the rest of the year. I don't expect them to make the playoffs because they do play one of the toughest schedules in football. But to start your season off 2-0, to know you have your guy at quarterback, to have your defensive leader back from injury and healthy and making plays, it's a great start.
I agree. I definitely want to cover a few things on the Broncos side of things as well. Play calling in the beginning of the game was great. They mixed in a bunch of runs. Javonte Williams looked fucking great, by the way. And he looks healthy, which is amazing to see. Samaje Perine also has looked really good in the 2 games so far as well. It needs to be said, they gave up on the run game almost entirely from the middle of the second quarter forward, and it made no sense to me because it seemed like every time they would run the ball, 4 yards, 5 yards, easy 2nd down, easy 3rd down, and then you could take your shot. It just didn't make sense to me why they completely abandoned the run game and why the play calls were just awful from that point forward. And Russell Wilson, awful from that point forward, missing easy throws. We're talking about later in the game in the 3rd quarter, or maybe even later than that. There was a wide open Jerry Jeudy for a 1st down, threw it behind him. Jeudy had to dive on the floor, make the catch, got tackled prior to the sticks, and they had to punt. Like, I'm sorry, Russ, although he was great in the beginning of the game, looked really pretty. Are we sure that the issues are solved?
He looks really pretty.
He looked
That was
crazy.
pretty
He
crazy.
did look pretty. The deep ball was deep balling. Let me say that much. But
the deep ball was deep balling.
the deep ball was indeed deep balling.
I want to bring it back to we were talking about the rushing really quick. Russ led the team in rushing. That can't happen when you have a running back like Javonte on your team. He had 56 yards on 6 carries.
It was also he was scrambling a whole bunch.
He was.
Which I like to see because I do want Russ getting out of the pocket and going.
He
But
also was getting chased for his life most of
But
it.
no,
I feel like 12 rushes for 44 yards. I feel like that's not enough for Javonte.
I agree.
He's got to get more than
Especially
that.
at
with
all.
a quarterback like Russell Wilson who thrives in the play action and taking those deep shots in the play action. You have to establish a run game.
Yep.
That's what made him so special in Seattle. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They were
That's-
always able to establish a run game with Chris Carson and whoever else in Seattle, and that allowed Russ to take those deep shots to Tyler Lockett, to DK.
It just doesn't make much sense to me. I don't get it. I don't know why they didn't commit to the run, especially when it was working early on.
You have to make more of an effort to get Cortland Sutton involved.
Oh
I mean,
my God.
come on.
That end of the game play on the 2-point conversion was a pretty bad missed call on the ref's part. He jumped on fucking Sutton's back pretty much.
Hey, man,
But-
if the refs don't call it,
You'd be crazy not to try to at least fucking cause a pass interference if you think he's going to catch it on a play like that. The refs don't seem to call it on the game-winning type of plays. That Hail Mary was insane, by the way.
Nuts.
Tip,
Insane.
and then one hand, grab it, pull it in. That shit was insane.
That's why you work on tip drills in practice.
You were sweating a bet. I know you said that.
Yeah, I needed my last leg, Broncos money line. So that was I had a heart attack that play. Between that and then the 2-point conversion was pretty bad. But I wanted to bring something up about the Broncos defense. They suck on first downs.
They can't
So-
tackle, too.
On first downs, Sam Howell threw 14 of 18, had 119 yards and a touchdown, and Washington ran the ball 13 times for 67 yards on first downs.
Christ.
5 yards per carry, basically.
Jesus. You know what play type? I didn't do any research on this, but you know what play type has seemed to kill the Broncos early on? Any screens. The Broncos are getting gashed on any type of screen so far this season, or what it seems like. And they can't fucking tackle in the open field right now. So,
I mean, that's a big problem, though. If you can't force second and long, third and
yeah.
long, and you're giving teams the ability to run the ball on third down and, extend drives and keep the defense on the field, that's a problem. It's a big problem.
yeah, it's rough. And part of helping the defense, too, is by getting the running game going as well. So they're going to help each other. It's got to go hand in hand. I mean, this defense has to force some opportunities where you could blitz and make quarterbacks uncomfortable because it doesn't seem like they're creating that much havoc on 4-man rushes or so, especially week 1. This week, a little bit better, a little bit improved. Jonathan Cooper, I think his name was getting some pressure there. Randy Gregory was doing some things early on as well, but I don't know, man. This defense better figure it out and figure it out soon because Denver was great offensively early on, but after that it was not pretty. So I don't know where do you guys think these teams are at right now? Like, do you think the Commanders can find consistent success for the entirety of the season? Obviously not go undefeated, but do we think?
I mean, it really depends on the offensive line. I mean, in the beginning of the game, and Sam Howell developing a pocket presence, but that kind of goes hand in hand with the offensive line giving him time.
Yep.
I mean, that, to me, seems to be the only problem. They're getting overall good play from Sam Howell. The run game seems to be somewhat effective. The defense, I think, like I said, incredible. Tied with the Dallas Cowboys for the most sacks in the NFL through 2 weeks with 10. So it really comes down to, can this offensive line give Sam Howell time to be great?
Yeah, it does.
And I think they can. I think they could, I don't think they're going to be a great unit. I don't think they're going to be top 10, top 15, whatever it is. But all they got to do is just give Sam Howell enough time to cook.
Let Sam cook.
Yes.
And do we think the Broncos turning around?
No, they're fucked.
They suck.
Agreed.
I mean, I had high hopes for them coming into the season, but after watching them crumble, blowing that 21-3 lead, it's hard to back them after that. I mean, Russell looked really bad that second half. The entire team did.
Their red zone play calling was awful too, might I add. Just atrocious.
And you would think that's one thing that would be fixed from last season because that was a huge problem for them last season was clock management and red zone offense. And you would think with a
Execution, man.
surefire coach as Sean Payton, you would succeed. But
Nope.
nothing.
Doesn't seem as though that's the case. So, all right, on to the other team. I originally said that the Commanders had a better comeback in overall because they played a better team, or at least so you think, whatever. And then I obviously watched both the games over again. And realizing how much time was left on the clock when the Commanders went down, it was early second quarter, and then they scored, made it 21-10. I had to reevaluate that. The New York Giants went into the half down 21-0. And then something. I don't know what that something was, but something flipped a switch in the New York Giants and might turn their entire season around from this point forward. The score was 21-0. Giants got the ball. Immediately walk down the field and score a touchdown, 21-7. I'm like, wait a second. Something might be happening here. Something might be happening here. And then all of a sudden, Cardinals strike back 28-7. I'm like, oh, okay. There's now like 4 minutes left, maybe 5. 20 minutes left in the game to come back 21 points. I say, all right, well, our season is fucked, so at least make this somewhat worth it to watch. Here we go. Giants drive right back down the field, and Saquon Barkley turns it to Superman. And now it's 28-14. Defense gets the ball back. Danny again, down the field. Throws, everything was perfect. All of his throws, perfect. Offensive line, giving him time, perfect. Defense turns the ball over again. Isaiah Hodgins touchdown, and the Giants tie the fucking game. And I'm like, oh, shit, we're going to win this game, aren't we? Defense turns them over again. Giants get the ball, drive that thing down the field, kick a field goal, and we're now 1-1.
It was beautiful.
It was so nice. I mean, I'm not a Giants fan, but I had them in my survivor pool, and I was really confident going into the week. And when I saw the score was 20-0 at half, and then I did some thinking, I was like, wow, the Giants on the season are down 60-0. Why would I ever pick them for my survivor pool? And then all of a sudden, Daniel Jones, as you said, he flipped the switch. No more Mr. Nice Guy. And
no, sir.
Defense looked really solid. That entire second half, offense was flowing. Prayers up to Saquon.
Yes.
Happy he's only missing 3 weeks. 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, actually, I got an alert a few minutes ago.
I don't want to hear it about the Brian Dable saying
Brian
that.
Dable said,
yeah, no. He's
feels a
not
lot
ruling
better
anything
today.
out. He fucking heals quickly. Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
Superman.
I'm sorry, bro. If he plays Thursday,
But
they've messed up
that'd be great,
royally.
yeah.
Most definitely. If he can't play Thursday.
Back to Daniel Jones. In the second half, he threw for 250-plus yards, rushed for 50-plus yards, threw multiple touchdown passes, rushed for a touchdown, and had no turnovers. No other quarterback in NFL history has done that in the second half of a game.
We flipped the script, guys.
You've literally flipped the switch.
So what did he throw for in the second half?
I don't know exactly, but the tweet says
256, I think it was.
256.
Wow. So he had about 70-something yards in the first half.
He had
9 rushing
67
yards.
exactly.
And
in the
9
first
rushing
half.
yards.
Jesus,
Danny
bro.
Dimes has done something that no other quarterback has
ever done. Ever done.
I mean, this season for the Giants so far has literally been record-breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I look,
The highest and at the lowest.
100%. And, you know, it was good to see. Granted, it was against the Cardinals, which is why, for me, this shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Oh, no.
No.
You shouldn't have been in this situation.
No.
But what was beautiful to me, and I think it needs to be stated that it seemed from all accounts, watching the game, Brian Dable took over play calling at the half. He denied it over and over and over again. Danny denied it in the post-game press conferences. But something changed. I don't know what it is. I don't know if someone went to that back and started screaming at people, which I think Brian Dable probably did. But a switch was flipped for this team, and it was beautiful to watch. Daniel Jones, when he had that rushing touchdown, all the emotions came out. All the emotions came out. This man, I've never been, and I gotta say, he does look improved. He does. He really does. And it needs to be said, because obviously that Dallas game, I want to throw it away. And again, as I said, it wasn't Danny's fault. The dude was getting murdered consistently. And then he had time in this game, and every single pass was on the money. Even in the first half, every pass was on the money. But dudes weren't catching the ball. They had like 3 drops in the first half of the game alone. It was bad. And then the second half, guys are now catching passes. Offense is more creative. And then we just drive down, score 4 successive touchdowns, and then kick the field goal to win the game. So Darren Waller came to life. Jalen Hyatt, oh my God, looks like a legit player. Like a real deal, needs to be on the field consistently type of player. So as a Giant fan, I was very happy. On to San Francisco. What do we got? Can we do this against the best defense in the NFL? Or
No.
second
Bad.
best
It's
defense
gonna
in
be
the NFL?
bad.
It's gonna be atrocious.
If Saquon does, even if Saquon plays, I just feel like it's gonna be so bad.
But what if it's not?
It's possible.
But what if it is?
What if Danny's
Bro, they're,
top 10, top
bro,
7,
they're
top
down
5
3
now?
touchdowns to the Cardinals.
Yeah, no.
They made
There's no
Joshua
way.
What if
Dobbs.
something changed?
Joshua Dobbs
Oh my
in the first
gosh.
half of that game he should have been all pro.
You know when I
The
thought
first
it was
half,
over?
Joshua Dobbs in that game, if he played like that the entire season, would win an MVP.
I'm going to be honest. I thought it was over when he trucked Xavier McKinney to get
Bro.
into the end zone.
Bodied him.
Oh my God. I thought the Giants season was over at that exact moment. I'm in a chat on Instagram of like a bunch of Giant fans, like people that we don't know, just because we all follow the same page. Bro, when I tell you that chat was ready to switch their fandom to being a fucking Cowboy fan in that moment, that is how bad it was. We were like, this is the worst team of all time. Can't believe we have to fucking watch this shit. Fuck this. I'm going on Red Zone. I'm done. Not watching this shit anymore. And then things just, completely changed. And at the end of the game, we were all like, yo, Danny's the greatest quarterback of all time.
I mean, this is literally the tale of two halves. I mean, the Cardinals' offense seemed so effortless in the first half. Joshua Dobbs is, as I said, moving the ball downfield with ease. They had, I think, 13 first downs in the third quarter alone.
Yep.
In the first quarter.
The Cardinals,
that's not normal.
they look respectable.
They do.
don't look
Two
bad.
games in a row.
So
James Conner is running the ball like a madman.
Oh, my God. Breaking 50 tackles, bro.
they might be able to win some games before Kyler comes back. And then
No,
why not?
don't do it.
They might be able to.
They can't do it
Why?
because they just can't. You can't bring him back. I'm sorry. They're not. It's
The whole
not worth
season,
it. This
you don't
team
think?
is not good enough to bring Kyler back.
But what if they have a few dubs by the time he's ready to come back?
They're not going to.
But at what cost? What's a few dubs? Because,
But I don't know, because
You
when is
take
he?
yourself out of Caleb. You don't want to do that.
no. If you're going to bring a Kyler Murray into a situation where it still isn't going to work with Kyler Murray, there's no point of rushing him back.
I'm not saying rush him back.
I mean, don't play him at all this season.
I
I don't see a point where Kyler Murray plays.
I think it just makes too much sense to end up with Caleb Williams. You don't fuck around with your chance at getting one of the best quarterback prospects we've ever seen. You just don't.
But what if they just win some games though, bro? They almost won this game.
Yeah,
They're gonna win some games.
But almost doesn't count.
Are we sure about that? Are we sure that they're not just a competitive enough team?
Yeah, I
That
don't know.
blows it at the
I
end of
feel
each
like
game.
if they didn't win this one, it's
And
gonna be rough.
the next 3 weeks, the Cardinals play the Cowboys, the Niners, and the Bengals.
Oh, yeah, have fun.
Those are their next 3 games.
All right,
Have
never
fun.
mind. Never mind.
And then the Rams, who also look like a good fucking team right now, if we're being entirely
Honestly,
honest.
they're-
So,
They might win against the Texans. Looking at their schedule right now,
hey, CJ Stroud's no joke. CJ Stroud is no fucking joke right now. So,
they
yeah,
should win one game. Looking at their schedule,
I kind of feel I will not put any stock into this Giants win until you show me what you got on Thursday. From that point forward, then we could talk about where this Giants season is going.
I don't know if that's gonna make you happy, buddy.
Yeah, you're really gonna base all your expectations facing the most dominant team.
But
most
that's
dominant team.
fair. As I should, though, because where do we measure up? I don't want to just beat these bad teams.
You don't measure.
I
up.
don't want to just beat these bad. You know what? Y'all could go back to sleeping. That Dallas game was going to be a good game if it wasn't for the momentum completely fucking flipping.
If it wasn't for the Cowboys putting up 40.
I'm
Yeah, you're
sorry.
right.
Like,
Put up 0.
congrats. Like, so
As I
much.
said, I'm not putting any stock in this.
So much. I do. I give you
I
so
think
much
you
respect for winning this game. Like, not you, but the New York Football Giants.
Yes.
I think to go down 28-7 to start your season off 60-0 and have the resilience to go into that halftime locker room and say, we're not going to fold, we're not going to give up, we're going to win this game, and then to come out and actually do it, that deserves a lot of respect. Some of the notes I had from this game is that James Conner is good at football.
Yep.
The Giants' run defense stinks also.
Somehow.
Jalen Hyatt changed this game. He had the bomb at the very start of the second half.
Lost the dude.
Right. If that doesn't happen, they probably lose this game, honestly, because that set them up. Not only set them up to score, but set them up quickly to score, which, gives you more time to complete said comeback. And another note I had is that The Giants on late down rushing plays, so third and fourth down, had a .96 EPA per play and a 100% success rate, which means they had a positive EPA on those plays. So the Giants in the second half of that game in particular were getting third and short, fourth and short at times, and they were able to run the ball, whether it was Danny keeping it or Saquon just being Saquon. So, that was definitely impressive, but that's really it. Jason Pinnock was pretty impressive.
At times.
Yeah.
At times.
That's really it. Congrats. You guys earned it.
Yeah.
As I said, on to San Francisco. Show me what you really got. That's all.
Show me
what you really have in there. Is there dog in there, New York Giants?
There's probably a dog, but it's
Chihuahua.
Yeah, it's not a big
All
dog.
bark, no bite. Oh, boy. It's all right. Look, we're on the come up. It's happening.
You guys been in the come up
This Thursday, it's turning around. It's all turning around.
Okay.
Even if we have a competitive game against San Fran, that's confidence right there. If you play them competitively, that's confidence
What's
right
a competitive game in your eyes?
there. If we lose by one score.
Okay.
If we lose by 7 points to San Fran, I'm impressed.
Do you think that's going to happen?
Moving on to the next game. Okay, so the
Should we
next
go
game.
straight to the Niners?
No.
no,
Let's
no.
combine these two
I want to
together.
combine the next two,
Yeah.
because these two are going to be a topic of conversation, especially in the same vein here. The Los Angeles Chargers.
Do like a little intro, which 0-2 team are you more concerned with?
There it is.
I was going to do that after we talked about the two.
Why would you do
Why-
it
do
after?
the intro to introduce.
Because I was going to talk. We were going to
That
talk
would be
about the
a
games,
conclu-
but all right, I guess.
Well, we're gonna talk about the games.
All right. So, which 0-2 team are you guys most concerned about? The Chargers or the Bengals?
So I'm gonna start here because I'm more concerned about the Bengals. I am super duper concerned about the Bengals. They lost to the Baltimore Ravens 27-24. That score does not do this game justice. It was not a close game. It was never in doubt for the Baltimore Ravens, in my personal opinion. So the main two things that I'm concerned with is that the Cincinnati Bengals are not generating explosive plays. According to RBSDM, Joe Burrow had a 5.4 average depth of target. And I say according to RBSDM because they filter out throwaways and spikes and all that shit. So it might not look like the official stat sheet, but you get a better gauge for it. So Burrow's average depth of target was 5.4 in comparison to Lamar Jackson, who had a 9.1 average depth of target in this game. Lamar Jackson, the running back. Keep that in mind. The longest play for the Cincinnati Bengals was a 32-yard, pretty much screen pass to Joe Mixon. It was kind of like a play action, then he came across the formation. So they really weren't generating anything explosive. And then they had no success on early downs, first and second down. A negative .21 EPA per play on first and second down. They were a negative .26 in week 1 against the Browns. And then Joe Burrow had a very, very costly interception in the third quarter. It was a 13-10 game. The Bengals made it down to the red zone, and it was a bad read. And, that was kind of the game right there. And why I'm super concerned about the Bengals more than the Chargers is they're struggling to generate explosive plays. They're struggling on early downs. If Joe Burrow re-aggravated his injury and he plays through that, that's not going to change. If Joe Burrow has to sit out a week, who's the backup again? I forgot his name off the top of my head.
Jake Browning.
Jake Browning isn't going to be able to generate those explosive plays. So I think regardless, they're in trouble because this team is dependent on their offense. We know their defense. We give them credit. We give Lou Anarumo a ton of credit. In my opinion, through 2 weeks, their defense has been just about what I thought it would be. Okay, or maybe a little bit above average. I think they're definitely missing Jesse Bates, which I thought they would. I think Dax Hill has been good. Shout out to Lav, because that was his breakout candidate for the AFC North.
Yes, it was.
I think Dax Hill has been good, but you're not going to replace an all-pro safety like that, especially on a team who lacks great cornerbacks. You need that elite over-the-top safety to help out. So I think the defense has been okay, not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but this team needs their offense to be great to be competitive.
Yep.
And whether it's a 70% Joe Burrow or backup quarterback, I don't expect the offense to improve in the next couple of weeks. The Chargers, on the other hand, we know their problems. Their problem is their defense. But we've seen Justin Herbert carry a bad defense, carry a team with injured weapons to the playoffs. So that's why I'm not as concerned about. I never thought of the Chargers as a Super Bowl contender anyway. I thought they were going to have some reoccurring problems, which they are. But Justin Herbert's good enough to carry them to at least the playoffs. I don't know if a 70% Joe Burrow or a Jake Browning is good enough to carry the Bengals to the playoffs, especially, the segment is teams that started 0-2. I know it doesn't seem like a lot because there's 18 weeks in the NFL season. You play 17 games, but I think Joel said this on Pick Aside. Shout out the Pick Aside guys. I think it was 11% of teams that start 0-2 make the playoffs.
Yep.
So, you're putting yourself in a big hole starting 0-2. And now, the Bengals, they don't have an easy game against the Rams next week. You play the Rams without Joe Burrow. You start your season 0-3. You could almost essentially chalk it up. Both these teams, they're in do or die mode now.
Yep.
I will say this about the 0-2 thing. They did also start 0-2 last season, and they finished with 4 losses, I think.
Yeah.
So
That's something that concerns me even more, though, because how much of an outlier was that? What are the odds they repeat that?
So I completely agree with you. I'm more worried about the Bengals, but it's weird because these two teams are playing bad for 2 completely different reasons. The Chargers are playing bad despite Justin Herbert playing very good, but the Bengals are playing bad because Joe Burrow is playing very bad. And I feel like this has obviously been a factor because
Bless you.
Bless you. There's been a factor because Joe Burrow had this injury in the offseason. He hurt his calf, right? And I think the reason that he's playing this bad is because they rushed him back. It's obvious. And now
Bless you.
He re-aggravated it. He re-aggravated it again. And who says they don't just do the same thing again and just bring him back too early? They're not giving him the time to rest. And like you said, they're in a lose-lose. It's either they're playing with an injured Joe Burrow, like they have been the past 2 weeks, losing games, not playing as good, or they're playing without Joe Burrow, and they're not going to win games like that either. So, like you said, Bengals, lose-lose situation. I'm more worried about them. Chargers, Justin Herbert's proved that he could lead a bad defense to the playoffs.
And I actually tweeted about this, and someone said, you got to understand that Burrow's playing injured, blah, 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 all that. And I'm like, no, I understand. If Joe Burrow was 100% healthy, I would have no concerns about the Bengals.
But that's the point.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the point.
I'm more concerned about the Chargers, even with all that being said. I have to say, yes, I understand, and that argument that you just stated is kind of part of my argument. I think I'm not concerned so long as Joe Burrow's injury isn't serious, and it might be.
It's been a thing that's been going on for over a month.
Which scares me, but in every metric that you can think of, except for stopping the run now this season, the Los Angeles Chargers defense has been far and away the worst defense in football, which terrifies me because it doesn't make any sense at all. You have Khalil Mack, you have Joey Bosa, you have what should be a big money player in J.C. Jackson. You have obviously this improved rush defense now. You have Derwin James. You have Asante Samuel Jr. All players that we think are great. And it's not working. This offense looks explosive. I'm not taking anything away from that. Keenan Allen all of a sudden just revitalized himself as a deep threat now, which is insane. Mike Williams, Quentin Johnston, everyone looks good. Everyone looks good on the offense. Even though I started Josh Kelly in fantasy in a few leagues and he did fucking nothing this week.
He was horrible.
They also don't commit to the run game. That's part of the issue as well.
Yeah.
Someone needs to get fired. Someone needs to be fired. Whether it's Brandon Staley, whether it's the defensive coordinator, someone needs to be fired. And I don't know who, and it concerns me because it just seems like every single season there's high hopes and you just think it's all going to work. And now here you are, 0-2, worst defense in football, can't stop a pass for your life at the current moment. And it just seems like things just won't get any better on that side of the ball. Even though Herbert's playing lights out once again, how much can a quarterback really do? To a point. So I'm concerned. I'm definitely concerned. I think the Bengals will be fine if Joe Burrow's healthy. If he's not,
I agree, but that's the
You're
whole
fucked.
that's the whole point, though. You
if
know?
he's not, then you're fucked.
Like
Yeah.
they weren't good the past 2 weeks because they rushed him back
Yeah.
because he's playing
Like
hurt.
I agree
The
with you.
downfield
It's
is
not just
really
gonna go.
bad.
It's not just gonna go away.
Jamar Chase has become non-existent
Right,
down the
and-
field.
You know, like you're saying, you're not concerned if it's not a serious injury. I mean, it doesn't matter the severity of it at this point. They can't afford to not having 100% Joe Burrow
Yeah.
at all. And I think they play Monday night, if I'm not mistaken, this week against the Rams. Monday night is a must-win. I mean, the same could be said for the Chargers in Week 3. Like both these teams, it's must-win games. But I don't know who the Chargers play in Week 3. If someone wants
The
to let me know.
Vikings,
The
I
Vikings.
think.
Yes, it is the Vikings. I'll take my chances on Justin Herbert and a shitty defense against the Vikings than a Jake Browning-led Bengals team against the Rams.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's must-win territory for both teams, though. It's all the 0-2 teams.
Especially the Vikings. This is
Yeah,
about as must-win for both of those
Yeah.
teams as possible. So, is that what time is that? Does it even say? Because
I think that's a 4:00 game.
Okay.
I might be wrong.
Because I'm intrigued to
might be
fully
wrong.
just tune into that game, but I probably won't. I'm gonna be on Red Zone, and then I'll just watch the condensed game after. But
I
Yeah,
lied.
1 o'clock game.
1:00.
but yeah, so it concerns me a whole lot. But I will say the Chargers offense does look about as good as advertised, and the offensive line is healthy and playing incredibly well, which is it's great to see. Honestly, super nice to see that Justin Herbert is finally protected. So
Yeah, they're gonna put up points. It's just how do you let the Titans put up 27? We were saying
That's
Ryan
what I'm
Tannehill.
saying.
We were
And
saying
it-
Ryan Tannehill was the worst quarterback in the league
Bro.
after
And it
after
was
week
crazy because the run defense is good for the Chargers, and Derrick Henry didn't do
go
much.
nuts. No, he didn't go nuts.
He averaged 3 yards a carry and had a touchdown on the goal line. He didn't really do much.
Yeah.
Ty Spears,
What
by
do
the
you
way,
more concerned with?
might I add.
I'm more concerned with the Bengals. Bring up the points you guys just said. I mean, not having a healthy Joe Burrow is not good. And the Chargers, to this point at least, have been competitive in every single game they've played in. The Bengals have just looked simply outmatched, especially in their own conference, their own division. They're playing the Browns, who owned them recently.
them.
Yeah.
And then they played the Ravens the other day. Lamar does own Joe Burrow in the head-to-head matchup, but they didn't look competitive. Like you said, Jamar Chase has been a non-factor, I feel like, all season. He hasn't been the Jamar Chase that everyone's expected to see.
Yep.
And obviously,
My dynasty team can tell you that right now.
yeah. And Joe Burrow hasn't been the Joe Burrow, obviously, because they rushed him back from an injury. And it's not good. The Chargers, I feel like, are a more sustainable offense and will be in more games than the Bengals will be without Joe Burrow.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I get that.
So I have some stats about the Chargers. So first of all, like you guys said, it's nuts that they allowed Ryan Tannehill to look as awesome as he did. Bro completed 83% of his passes, 246 yards. He threw an absolute bomb in the second quarter to Treylon Burks that set up the Derrick Henry
That was a
touchdown.
dime. My God.
And then, so early, shout out to RBSDM for real for all these efficiency stats and all that, because it's really a game changer. But the early downs determined the game. The Chargers had no run game, obviously, like you guys said. Josh Kelly went 13 for 39 yards, 3 a carry. They had a negative .30 EPA per play on early rushing downs. The defense allowed a .45 EPA per play on early passing downs. So they allowed Ryan Tannehill to move the ball through the air on early passing downs. It was cool that Joey Bosa showed up. He had 2 sacks in this game. He was a non-factor in week 1. So shout out to Joey Bosa for showing up. Asante Samuel looked terrible.
Holy shit.
Not good. Derwin James, I think, was fine. But in total, the two of them were targeted a combined 7 times and allowed 7 receptions. That's not good. I will say the Chargers had a chance to put the game away in the fourth quarter, up 21-17 with the ball. They punted, which led to Tannehill chucking a 40-yard bomb to Chris Moore. Then Kenneth Murray got a roughing the passer call on a third down, which was converted, but it added another 15 yards to the play, which set up the Titans in 1st and goal. Careless mistakes by the defense. We know they're not good, but if you're not going to be good, at least don't make the careless mistakes.
So many penalties. So many penalties in this game.
And then I have to say, for, as much as we want to give Justin Herbert the benefit of the doubt, because he's playing on such a shitty defense, the past 3 weeks, going back to last year's playoffs, it hasn't looked good for him. He had a chance to win this game. It shouldn't have been in overtime in the first place. Like, I'll give you that. But you got the ball first in overtime. Do you know how happy Josh Allen would be if he got the ball first in overtime? He got the ball first in overtime. The first play was a deep shot into double coverage.
It was terrible play calling.
When I watched the game back, the checkdowns were there. Take your checkdowns. You didn't need to score a touchdown on the first play of overtime. Second play, he threw it away. So now you're on 3rd and 10.
Yep.
And he essentially had another throwaway. It was nowhere near the receiver. You're 3 and out. That can't happen. And I know they can't run the ball. Like, you would like them to at least run the ball on 1st or 2nd down, get some yards so it's not a 3rd and long. But, I mean, Justin Herbert in that situation, I give him a pass because the defense is terrible, and he still looked great. But when you get in that situation, the great quarterbacks get it done.
Yep.
The great quarterbacks get it done.
Yeah.
So, that has to be said. I'm not blaming the game on him. There's so many other things to blame about this Chargers team, but that's something that has to be brought up.
Yeah.
When you get the ball first in overtime, you cannot afford to go 3 and out. That's not a good look.
Yeah, I put it here. The play calling in both the red zone and at the start of overtime was horrific in this game. It was so bad. The Chargers averaged 3.1 yards before contact on each rushing attempt, which is top 10 in the NFL currently. And they don't run the ball nearly enough. And they didn't in this game. Like, I understand Josh Kelly did not average great yards per carry in this game, but you just got to stick with it. You just have to keep trying, especially at the start of overtime. We're really going to take a deep shot on the first play, and it wasn't even like remotely close. There was no opportunity there. I will say a few things. Herbert forced a few balls into double coverage that were unnecessary, entirely unnecessary. He didn't get picked off, but some of the throws were questionable. And Herbert was not phenomenal in this game, but he's been good overall over the first 2 games of the season, for sure. But I'm puzzled. I don't get it. I don't understand why we can't run the football just a little bit. The defense, bottom 4 in pressure rate, with 2 guys that are big name players. 2 guys that are massive names in the NFL.
It's so sad to see Khalil Mack fall off.
Oh, my God.
I love Khalil Mack, bro.
Oh,
That's my
God.
guy. Like,
he looks
he's just a
washed.
non-factor.
In terms of rushing the passer, he looks washed. Stopping the run, he still sets a great edge.
Yeah.
That doesn't go with age. You really are always a good run stuffer if you are at some point in your career. Max still could stuff the run. He can't rush the passer for his life anymore. It looks rough. So, I don't know, man. I'm worried about the Chargers. I'm worried about this defense. They can't pressure. They can't cover. Ryan Tannehill looked like an all-pro quarterback against them. That bomb to Treylon Burks was a real dime. Same thing with the Chris Moore throw. Both of those were just phenomenal throws. And it felt like from that Treylon Burks throw on, Tannehill's confidence was through the roof. And it was like he just remembered that he could play football.
I mean, to complete over 80% of your passes in a football game, in an NFL football game, is super impressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's honestly really all there is to say about the Titans from this game. Tannehill was super impressive. The run defense, I told you guys when we did the preview, the Chargers run game in week 1 was a fluke. They were not going to be able to run the ball like that against this elite Tennessee run defense, which, that proved to be true. But that's really all there is to be said about the Titans.
Tyjae Spears is a player too, might I add.
For sure. In terms of the Ravens, shout out to Lamar Jackson, man. The box score does not do him justice. He passed 24 for 33, only 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. But boy, oh boy, he is elite at throwing the football. And this is something all of us, I think, on this show have been trying to say for as long as we've been doing this now. Lamar Jackson is more than just a rushing quarterback.
Yep.
Some of the balls he was throwing, the arm angles, the placement. I mean, that touchdown to Nelson Aguilar, that was crazy placement. The ball to Zay Flowers, the deep shot that shredded the safeties in the middle, that was elite placement. Some of these sidearm angles on the short stuff to Mark Andrews are elite. Like, he is an elite thrower of the football. And in this Todd Monken offense, that is only going to be put on display more. So shout out to Lamar. I thought we saw that Gus Edwards was clearly the better running back in this game. Yes. He had a .50 EPA per play compared to a Justice Hill with a negative .11. And my last note about the Ravens is that their secondary was pretty impressive to me, despite, you got to give them some benefit of the doubt because of all the injuries. T. Higgins caught 2 touchdowns. They really didn't have anyone to match up with T. Higgins because he's a physical specimen. But Reno Stone had 9 tackles.
Geno Stone was fucking sick.
I have Reno in my notes.
I actually have this in my notes as well. I said Geno Stone stepped up and played one hell of a game.
He had that big interception in the red zone that I mentioned earlier. So, shout out to the Ravens for taking care of business. Like I said when we first started this segment, this game was not as close as the score suggests.
Yep.
Cincinnati returned a punt, which obviously helped them. But in my opinion, the Ravens pretty much dominated this game.
Another big shout out, to the Baltimore Ravens offensive line, which was banged up coming into this game. I don't believe they had Ronnie Stanley. I don't believe they had Tyler Linderbaum for this game, who were arguably their 2 best offensive linemen. And the offensive line dominated. Gave Lamar time. It looked good. It didn't dominate. Let me not put it that far, but they gave Lamar some time, which was more than you could have hoped for, given that your 2 best offensive linemen were out for this game. So,
I mean, and piggyback off that, you have Lamar's pocket presence to go along with a Ravens O-line, which is producing. I mean, the Bengals had 1 QB hit the entire game.
Jeez.
No sacks. I mean, it's the recipe. You're never going to lose if you're not taking negative yards, throwing the ball away, or getting sacked. It's hard to lose a game like that.
Lamar's pocket presence, you just mentioned that. Holy hell. It's impressive now. Like, to look at what he was in his rookie year and to look at what he is now, he doesn't look to run. He doesn't. He really doesn't. He uses his legs as a weapon when he needs to use his legs as a weapon. Imagine having that type of athleticism, that ability to create when you need it. Not when you just feel like doing it, when you need it. It's an unfair advantage. And Lamar is just some sort of a special talent. And I need to say, these weapons are unbelievable now. I mean, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Odell Beckham Jr., who got hurt in this game, but apparently he's fine. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Nelson Aguilar, Devin Duvernay. This is the deepest core of weapons that Lamar has ever had, and look at what he's doing now.
I mean,
that's all you got to say.
He had 7 receivers that had stats. I mean, when's the last time Lamar threw the ball to 7 people?
Nelson Aguilar was balling in this game, might I add as well. And the defense, the Ravens' defense is good. It is good. We kind of expected this. We knew that it would be a good unit, but they are a damn good unit, and they are about as good as advertised. So this hopefully will keep up. I mean, I expect nothing less. So
I just wanted to say, I still can't believe that the entire league had a chance to trade for Lamar Jackson, and it just didn't happen. Like, it's crazy to me.
The Falcons, man.
It's insane.
The Falcons. You passed up on it. You didn't want them. Nobody wanted them.
It's crazy.
Do we want to go right there now? Speaking of the Falcons?
Yeah, we can move on.
Why not?
We can move on.
Sure.
The Falcons. Let's go.
Yeah.
What a game. That was a fun game.
Talk about a comeback.
Yeah.
A 2-0 football team. And, man, I don't even know what to say about this Falcons team. The 25-24 final against the Green Bay Packers. Bijan Robinson is about as good as advertised. So I remember there was a comment, I think it was on one of our TikToks, maybe it was on our Instagram, whatever it was, that said, Bijan didn't even carry a Texas team. He's not all that special. You know what? It's hard to carry a team when you're a running back. But guess what he just did in this game? He fucking put the team on his back, is what he did.
Like Greg Jennings.
So
Crazy it was against the Packers.
once again, unimpressed with Desmond Ridder. Did his job, I guess.
Oh, come on.
He threw an interception.
He showed dog, bro.
Stop.
Come on.
He gave Drake London a good game.
He did.
No, and
And Kyle Pitts still gets nothing.
Yeah.
that rushing touchdown was huge.
Come on,
Yeah.
bro. He showed
Hey.
dog, bro.
Yeah, 6-yard run.
You're in your, sixth career NFL start. You throw your first interception.
pick, yeah.
Your team is down semi-big. Not the biggest deficit, but they're down. And you could fold. You could crumble.
They were down 14.
Yeah.
They were down 2 scores.
And you could
going in.
fold and you could crumble in that situation, or you could show that you're a dog and you could lead the comeback.
Woof woof.
And that's what he did. I mean, 19 for 32 is a pretty efficient game. 237 yards is, it's not terrible.
No.
And, I mean, he was resilient. He got on the post-game press conference after and said, count us out. We're never down for the count. And then just went on to praise how great his team is. I mean, sometimes the intangible things have to impress you other than, the physical ability. Desmond Ridder, obviously not the greatest quarterback performance in this game. I'm not going to be delusional to that, but, the same way I give Daniel Jones props for making a comeback, obviously his counting stats were way better, but, the same way I give Sam Howell props for leading his team to a comeback, got to give Desmond Ridder the props for leading his team to the comeback. Is he the guy going forward? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. But this season, he's the guy. So shout out to him for that. Like you said, Bijan Robinson, 124 rushing yards, 6.5 yards per carry, 4 receptions, 48 yards, some huge fourth down conversions. He is just impossible to tackle. And then on the defensive side of the Falcons, they got shredded a good amount, but they made some super timely plays. Jordan Love, it's not a great box score for him. 14 for 25, 150 yards, 3 touchdowns is awesome. No interceptions is awesome, but
There's a lot of run after catch too.
yeah, it
Might add.
wasn't the greatest game.
2 games
My
in a row.
opinion for the Falcons, they made timely stops. David Onyemata looked great again, 90.9 Pro Football Focus grade from this game. And in my opinion, A.J. Terrell has been the best cornerback in football so far this season. 7 targets, 0 catches allowed, 2 forced incompletions, 39.6 passer rating when he's being targeted. He's looked elite. This was just an all-around feel-good for the win for the Falcons because normally they're on the wrong side of these things, the comeback games. So another team starting their season 2-0. Like I said about the Commanders, only 8 other teams could say that. So they're in a good spot. It was a cool win. The Packers, I think they're fine. They're missing Aaron Jones and Christian Watson.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Not really much to take away from them there.
It's crazy enough when you look at the box score for the team stats for each team before this game and how the Falcons only won by a point. Because I caught bits and pieces of this game. I was at work, so. But the Falcons had 10 more first downs, 30 more plays, double the yards the Packers had, in the same amount of drives, and with 13 more minutes with time of possession. It just seems like the Falcons were destined to win this game. If you look at the stats, it looked like they blew them out, but penalties kind of ruined the Falcons 6 for 110, which is nuts.
So, I just want to, obviously moving forward from the Falcons, I think we've, by the way, Tyler Algier, a very inefficient game. Very, very, very inefficient game.
What I tried to tell people, you agreed with me. Tyler Algier is a good player.
He's a good player.
Bijan is generational.
Yes.
It's that simple. For fantasy, for real football, whatever it is, it will be Bijan's backfield. He is a generational running back.
Algier will still exist because they run the football
He'll
a ton.
exist.
Right,
He-
45 times.
He 16 for 48, I think it exactly was his line. And I think he had minus 16 yards against expected, which quite a bit of missed opportunity there. But yeah, overall, the weapons on the Falcons, Drake London had a great game. Kyle Pitts needs to, again, be more involved. Oh, my God. I'm losing my damn mind with this shit. He's one of the greatest receiving weapons, like generational receiving weapon.
That's only Desmond Ritter's second game with Kyle Pitts because he was out at the end of last year. It'll come.
I need to see it. I need to see it.
Shout out Mac Hollins.
Yes.
You wouldn't
Oh
see
my
it
God,
alone.
another big game from Mac. Another. I say big, but he did his job.
3 for 60. Yeah.
So onto this Packers side of things. Jordan Love obviously putting up some decent counting numbers in back-to-back games, like in terms of the touchdowns at least. A lot of yards after catch. So I wanted to bring this one up. In terms of quarterback efficiency so far this season, oddly enough, Jordan Love has the highest EPA per play on passes, rushes, and penalties, all included, and the lowest completion percentage above expected in the entire NFL. Lowest completion percentage. Down with, by the way, guys, Anthony Richardson, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson. But the highest EPA per play. Regression is coming. Big time regression is coming. And I'm not convinced that Jordan Love is the guy like we all saw in week 1. So this was a good test for him. I don't know if he really passed. He was 14 to 25. They clearly don't trust him. It needs to be said, I don't think they trust Jordan Love just yet. We're going to see, but regression is coming for Jordan Love. That needs to be said. This is not a pretty statistic and does not show a very promising next few weeks for Jordan Love. That was crazy.
Promising.
That was crazy. A very promising coming weeks for Jordan Love. Aside from that, it's a tough situation for the Packers. I mean, the defense is solid, but it's nothing spectacular. They got gashed, just like everyone else is going to get gashed by the Atlanta Falcons on the ground, it seems. But yeah, I mean, I don't have too many takeaways from the Packers side of things in this one.
It's tough when you're missing your 2 best offensive weapons.
Yes. Yeah.
Like A.J. Dillon didn't have a great game. He had 15 carries, 55 yards. It's okay. But they obviously missed Aaron Jones a lot.
I will say, these young wide receivers definitely look good.
Yeah.
Dontavion Wicks, obviously, Jaden Reed. These guys show some promise. They have a very young wide receiver room there that are some promising guys over there, too. So
You know what? Before we move on, fuck it. Would you rather Bijan Robinson edition? Let's ride.
whoa.
Oh, my God.
First name, Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey.
CMC.
Second name, Austin Eckler.
I'm taking Austin Eckler.
Bijan.
Bijan Robinson.
Next name, Derrick Henry.
Bijan Robinson.
Bijan. It's close.
Oh, boy.
It's tough.
Bijan Robinson.
Next name, Josh Jacobs.
Bijan.
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 I want to say Nick Chubb. But-
Next name, Nick Chubb.
You mean
Oh.
Nick Chubb?
Healthy Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. He's the best running back in football when healthy.
Best
Next
runner.
name, Saquon Barkley.
Saquon.
Bijan Robinson. Say it. You know you want to say it.
It's close.
Oh, man.
No, say it.
I'm taking Saquon Barkley.
He wants to take Bijan. He's saying
Yeah.
Saquon 'cause he's
And
a
that-
Giants fan.
That's pretty much everyone. I think everyone else you guys would take Bijan over.
Yeah,
Joe
yeah,
Mixon,
most
Aaron
likely.
Jones,
Mixon.
Josh Kelly.
Jonathan Taylor.
Josh Kelly.
Definitely taking Bijan over.
I'm taking
Jonathan
Bijan
Taylor.
over JT for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we
You
don't
know
know.
what? Fuck it. Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor.
Bijan.
Bijan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Give me Tyler Algier.
Give me Tyler. Give me Cordero Patterson. All right. So moving on to the next game. I guess we could talk about this one now. The Bills thrashed the Las Vegas Raiders like we all said they would.
Yeah.
There was a
It's just Josh
Like,
Allen was mad. He was a madman.
Said they would.
Yeah.
And you know what my biggest takeaway is? I'm really not going to say too much about this game. It was about what we expected.
Yeah.
Josh Allen took what was given to him.
31
What a
for 30.
fucking surprise!
Great game by
If
him.
you play the quarterback position the way you should play the quarterback position, you have a phenomenal football game.
And
And
also
granted, bad defense, but
the rushing. They actually established a running game in Buffalo for the first time in about 7 years.
Not even that. It was amazing.
Zach
James
Moss was
Cook,
great.
Yeah.
James Cook was amazing. Say Zach
I
Moss.
said Zach Moss, bro. I'm tweaking balls.
James Cook looked
Tweaking
amazing.
balls. Zach Moss did look great, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
I knew. Just a big old brain fart. James Cook looked good.
17 carries, 123 yards.
Bro, James
Yeah.
Cook is special. He's
Yeah,
good.
he was good.
He's really fucking good at football.
Oh, I can't believe I just did that.
Damian Harris and Latavius Murray, they're goal line backs. We've seen that. We know that. But yeah, James Cook looks great. It's his backfield for the most part, I think we could say. And I'm just genuinely impressed. I really am. I think I've been trying to say that James Cook needed to have more usage, and here he is, finally getting the touches he deserves. He had 17 carries, 123 yards. He got 4 receptions, 36, 160 all-purpose yards. So I love to see it. And it just makes me happy. It's my guy. Like, I love James Cook. So big things are coming for him. Just keep establishing the running game. It works. My guy, Gabe Davis, big game, 6 for 92, a tud. Stephon Diggs, 7 for 66. He spread the ball around. Ball around. So
Even Dalton Kincaid. had a
you
good
got
game.
weapons, bro.
Yeah.
You got weapons. You don't have to force the ball downfield. If you got to work it slowly, you work it slowly. So,
Even Deontay Hardy got work.
Yeah.
so
Which
just
it's weird. He went 2 for 4 when his longest is 8 yards. So I don't know what happened with him.
he had a 4-yard loss.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah, that
Durr.
makes sense.
Durr. Yeah, so overall, just in all in all, a great game. I'm very impressed by the Buffalo Bills in this one, but you know what? Do we really think the Raiders are all that good?
I was about to say, I was very not impressed by the Raiders.
This
They-
was about the most predictable
scored.
outcome.
Yeah, they scored first. You know, once that happened, I was like, oh man, it's gonna happen again to the Bills. But they played like shit.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Josh
Jimmy had a rough
Jacobs,
one.
man, 9 carries, -2 yards.
The curse of 400. 400 touches for a running back is a fucking curse
Nah,
in the
it's
NFL.
the curse of betting on these players. Most
telling
rushing
you, bro.
yards in the game. Josh Jacobs, man,
I
had
sent my-
negative yards.
I sent my bet to MB. He said my whole parlay, I think there was 5 of them to lead their teams in rushing. He said, well, yeah, it's Josh Jacobs by default. That's a good pick. Bro, had negative yards, bro.
He averaged -0.2 a carry.
Trey Tucker and Zamir White. Look at them. Look at these guys.
Yeah, combined 5 carries.
5 carries for 56 yards.
Pretty solid.
Trey Tucker had 1 carry, and he had 34 of them.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, Zamir White was 4 for 22. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo with a whopping 1 attempt for 1 yard. You know, big games for him. But
Yeah, not much to take away. The Raiders suck. My notes about this game are absolute beatdown. Josh Allen played a caps lock clean game. Josh Jacobs, caps lock, sucks.
it's the simplest way to put it.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, that's all we really have to say
Yeah,
about the
there's
Buffalo
not much.
Bills and the Oakland Raiders. So we can move on to the guy that you just mentioned before. We could talk about some Zach Moss as the Indianapolis Colts squared off against the Houston Texans. I don't know why this game is nowhere to be found on this.
I'll be honest, I've no notes from this game.
I didn't watch it over. This was one of the few games that I didn't even go over.
Tank Dell had a big day.
You only
Tank
have
Dell had
so
a
much
massive
time
day.
to watch these games over. You got to leave a few out.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this was one of the ones that I'll get to it at some point this week, but before today,
Yeah, so there's only a few notes that I want to say. Zach Moss played 100% of the snaps. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Not 100%. He played 56 out of a possible 57 snaps in this game for the Indianapolis Colts, might I add.
shout out to Shifty Lou, bro.
Moss looked really fucking good.
Big shout out to
That,
Shifty
did you
Lou.
see that? Shifty Lou texted me the other day on like Friday or Saturday. He said, yo, if you like money, throw some coin on Zach Moss 80+ rushing yards.
Wow.
So I threw some coin on that shit. It was like plus 400.
Your starts of the week could always just be whatever running back is going up against the Houston Texans, and that's a good start of the week. That just seems to be the case every
Yeah.
single week. But
Yeah.
prayers up to Anthony Richardson. Hope you heal up from that concussion. 2 rushing touchdowns very early on, and the second one he got injured on. His head snapped back, which is just such a scary injury when that stuff happens. So prayers up for him. Michael Pittman, once again, 8 receptions, 56 yards. Definitely the featured guy in this offense. Gardner Minshew, I didn't watch, so I can't say he looked good.
I'm looking at the box score, too.
But 19 of 23, 171 and a touchdown. Pretty damn good day.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Jets, get to ringing that phone over there, guys.
From watching on Red Zone, at least, it felt like this game was essentially over before Richardson even got. Once he scored that second touchdown, it felt like the game was over.
Yes.
The Texans definitely tried to make a push, but the Colts dominated. It's almost like Gardner Minshew didn't really have to do much of anything. But no, he stepped in. I mean, 19 for 23 is impressive.
I got to say, the Houston Texans offensive line is currently demolished by injuries with 4 starters missing. They can't get a run game going. I feel terrible for Dameon Pierce right now. 15 for 31 in this game. And Dameon Pierce is a good football player. He's a really good football player that is not getting a fair shake with this team, which is just super unfortunate. CJ Stroud led the week in passing yards. And by all accounts, again, did not get to watch much of this game. He actually played pretty well. 30 of 47, 2 touchdowns, 384 passing yards. So, Nico Collins, Robert Woods, Tank Dell, the trio for this
Shout
young
out to my
quarterback.
boy Nico Collins, for real.
Nico's balling.
Made a big move trading for him in Dynasty.
Nico is balling.
Traded
to start the
Javonte
season.
Williams and got Nico Collins in a first.
That's solid.
Solid.
Yeah, so surprisingly, his offensive snaps went down this past week. I'm not expecting that to be a consistent thing for the remainder of the season. But Tank Dell took full advantage of his opportunities this week. Caught 7 passes, 72. He actually played 12 out of a possible 21 snaps in any other personnel groupings that were outside of 11 personnel.
He had a touchdown, too.
Robert Woods had the same 12, and Nico Collins only played 4 in all other. He was the primary. Brown was the primary slot receiver. There you go. But Dell ran more routes in 11 personnel than Nico Collins, and Xavier Hutchinson was also mixed in. So this was super interesting. A lot of receivers getting involved here, but it seems like the main 3 have taken their place for CJ Stroud. So super interesting. I'm excited to see the rest of CJ Stroud. From all accounts, he has played incredibly well from what I've heard. Twitter was praising the guy like crazy and saying that he really hasn't been given a fair opportunity with a shit offensive line in front of him at the current moment. So on to the next one. Here we go. The Seahawks and the Lions in a shootout this week. 37-31 final for the Seattle Seahawks as they walked it off in overtime.
What a fun game.
Very.
This was one of the ones that I made sure to go back and watch. I will
Watched it
say
this morning before you guys got here.
that's exactly what I before I came. I actually watched the Lions Seahawks game over, and Geno Smith was missing both of his starting tackles, and yet the pass protection was not bad by any means, might I add. Both of these quarterbacks balled the fuck out. It needs to be said. Jared Goff, Geno Smith, so impressive. We'll start on the Seahawks side. What's the main takeaway from the Seahawks from this one for you guys?
I think Ken Walker was better than his 2.5 yards per carry suggests.
In my notes, Ken Walker is so good. That's what I put.
A really, really good running back. And as the offensive line gets healthier, I think that's only going to help him. I mean, like I was saying before about Najee Harris, just the combination of the vision, the speed, and the strength, those guys don't really come around too often. I mean, Ken Walker, just some of the runs he was bouncing out and just the vision, just the ability to see the whole field. So that was something that I was definitely impressed with. And if you didn't watch the game and you're just looking at the box score, you would probably say Ken Walker played like dog shit. But
No, he was getting met 4 yards behind the line and turning it into a positive 2.
Yeah.
Like, it made no sense.
yeah, that's one takeaway I have. Anyone else?
What about you guys?
The receivers always seem to do well in Seattle, no matter what. Tyler Lockett, always all reliable Tyler Lockett, pretty much.
That's
You
another
know?
thing I have in my notes. All reliable Tyler Lockett.
You actually wrote that?
Yes.
Wow, that's actually crazy. He had 8
I gotta go
receptions
back.
on 10 targets. He scored the game-winning touchdown. He had 59 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So, big game from him.
I mean, one takeaway I have is Geno Smith is as good as ever. There was a lot of questions about him last season being one of the better quarterbacks, QB5 last season for fantasy purposes. But Geno's coming in, playing a really good game, and 32 for 41 passing. Was very efficient on his 3 rushing attempts, averaged almost 7 per carry. 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Just a real all-around solid game from Geno.
Staying with the Seahawks, they have 3 tight ends that actually get involved in this offense, and Noah Fant, Colby Parkinson, and Will Dissly. I don't even know how, but it seems like every one of them ends up with like 2 catches every game. And if we just turn this into one tight end, he'd be a productive fantasy tight end. But you know what? Doesn't happen. That's not how it works. But yeah, I mean, the offensive line played well in pass protection for the fact that they didn't have Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross. Onto their defense, I will say Devon Witherspoon made his debut in this game. It was a little rough, especially early on for Witherspoon. He took his lumps as a rookie should, and gave up some catches to Josh Reynolds and stuff. Speaking of, Josh Reynolds really might be wide receiver 2 for this team, and like a legit one at that. 2 touchdowns in this one after a great week in week 1. It's just, man, like Jared Goff broke his interception streak since we'll hop to the Lions now, I guess, because I don't have many takeaways from the Seattle defense.
Shout out to Trey Brown.
Yes.
MVP of the game. Pick 6 to put them up 2 scores. Obviously, the Lions did come back and force overtime, but he also had a sack and a forced fumble, and he was the highest graded Seattle defender via PFF. So shout out to Trey Brown.
Jared Goff's first picked off pass in I believe like close to 400 attempts. He was 20 something away from Tom Brady and breaking the longest streak in NFL history without an interception, which by the way, Tom Brady did last season. And guess what team broke it from? The Seattle Seahawks. Oh. So they don't like to keep records going against them. So shout out to them. That defense made timely plays. That pick 6 was huge. It ended up being the difference in this game. And on to the Lions. I gotta say, this game proved to me that David Montgomery is far more important than people have been giving him credit for. So he went down with an injury, and he was out for the remainder of the game, it seems, I believe. You know, the short yardage situations from that point forward didn't look all too easy for the Detroit Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't have that power element to his game, and it seemed like it made a massive difference for the Lions in short yardage situations, in goal line situations. David Montgomery is very important to this football team. You realize it more and more as you watch the game. So
I will say it's okay because they said that he's day-to-day, so he'll probably play.
Yeah, you would
next
hope.
week.
I mean, next week, hopefully,
Yeah.
But Jared Goff deserves his respect. This is the best football he's played throughout the entirety of his career, especially dating back. That includes the Rams when he went to the Super Bowl, too. I just must say, he's been phenomenal for the Lions since he got acquired there. He was just kind of a throw-in to the Matthew Stafford trade, and nobody really cared about him because, you know, Jared Goofball, we didn't really think much of him. But he's been balling ever since becoming a Lion. So, got to give credit where it's due. Amon-Ra is a special talent. Josh Reynolds was balling. Sam Laporta's going to be really fucking good at tight end. And, I mean, look, the offensive line is as good as advertised. They give him plenty of time. I will say that much. So, yeah, I mean, the Lions' defense is iffy. Very iffy. They could stop the run, but, damn, they're getting shredded a little bit with the pass. I think Geno started like 8 for 8 or something like that. So, just a rough game for the Lions.
I mean, the Seahawks also have I feel like they have a top-end wide receiver room in the league. So, it's going to be tough for any team to combat that every week. So,
yeah, for sure. I don't put that much stock into that. But both teams played their asses off today, and the Seahawks needed this one. So, they proved that they just needed it a little bit more. I will add one thing. That sack at the 2-minute warning that Geno took at like the 5, where he ran all the way backwards and got tackled on the 5-yard line, bro, throw that away. You have to throw that away. You cannot take that sack there, especially like you did all this running around. You obviously had nothing downfield. Just throw it away because now you have your punter backed all the way up and you put him in a really bad situation. Obviously, it ended up working out for you, I guess. Granted, they ended up tying the game and then you went into overtime, but you won the game. But that could have costed them big time. And thankfully it didn't, but you just can't take that sack there. That was like the only mistake that I think Geno made all game, and that was a horrible mistake that could have costed them the game. Lions turned the ball over 3 times. They'll be fine.
Apparently, that was the only time Geno got sacked, too. It was when he lost 45 yards.
It was so bad.
It's crazy how the punter punted and it still might not have been a first down.
Yep.
They lost so many yards on that one possession.
Yeah, it was really bad. It was a rough one. But, Seahawks won, 1-1, both of these teams. I'm not concerned about the Lions losing in this one. They'll be perfectly fine. All right. On to the next one. The Bears and the Buccaneers. The Bucs defeated the Bears by a score of 27-17. And I'm done with Justin Fields.
Yeah, he's
2 and
bad.
fucking Bucks.
I've about had it. I'm going to say this. I'm giving up on Justin Fields being a good quarterback in the NFL. I know it's year 3. This is game 2. We all want to talk about, or at least this has been the story, that the offensive line is bad. Justin Fields, through 2 games, has had the most time in the pocket of any quarterback in the entire NFL at 2.8 seconds. And yet he still can't throw the football. So missing open guys consistently. I think there was a meme on Instagram, Ghetto Grunk, I think was the one that posted it. Oh my God. There was a play where every single one of his receivers were open. He had a clean pocket and just ran away, didn't throw the ball. And one of the comments, I think the top comment was like, he was just too overstimulated. There were too many options. He couldn't choose one. So just rough. And I don't know. I really don't have many words for Justin Fields anymore.
He had a few good throws to DJ Moore, but
I would like the play calling to be a little bit better. I mean, I'm sure we all saw it all over Twitter. He threw a pick 6, but it was after they called 3 straight halfback slip screens.
Yes.
Like it was fucking Madden.
Yeah.
Of course they're gonna sniff that shit out. I think he only has like 4 designed runs on the season through 2 games. That's concerning because
Horrible.
his strength is running the ball. I'm not giving him a pass because he's looked terrible as a passer. And also what's been trending on Twitter is since his rookie year, he's increased the time it takes him to drop back. He looks like he just doesn't give a fuck. Just carelessly dropping back. Nothing's ever quick 1, 2, 3 drop back, get the ball out. Oh, so that needs to improve. It looks rough for him right now. It looks rough for the Bears. Looks rough for the Bears defense. The Bears are just in shambles. That's really all there is to say.
Hey, but at least Chase Claypool scored a touchdown and made that second round pick worth it for him,
was that touchdown worth the 2nd round pick?
Well, technically a first, because it was the 32nd pick in the draft. So it technically is a first round pick. But no, it's not. It's not worth it at all because nobody on this team seems to give a fuck. So that seems to be the trend here with Chicago. But yeah, 4 design runs of the entire season, 4 carries, 3 yards for Justin Fields in this one. Just the play calling is bad. I'll 100% give them that. So it seems like they're just throwing the most screens in the entire NFL right now. At this point, let Justin Fields just go. Just go downfield. Throw the ball downfield. I don't even care. See what you got at this point because it doesn't seem like you're going to figure this out anytime soon. So on to the other side of things.
Baker Mayfield. Man.
Oh, my God.
Baker Mayfield.
He's so good. He's back.
Oh, my God.
He's back.
Oh, my God.
You went.
Guys, it's happening. Dean was right. Fuck. Dean was right. Baker Mayfield's like really good. Yeah. Like really good.
26 to 34, 317 yards, a touchdown, averaged 9.3. He didn't throw an interception.
And it doesn't even seem like he's putting the ball in harm's way. Like I haven't seen plays really from Baker that I'm like, wow, that should have been picked.
Yeah, I talked a lot of shit about how I don't think Mike Evans is going to be fantasy relevant this year, and he's
That was stupid.
kicking the shit out of me.
My start of the week. My start of the week. Let's go, Mike. 6 for 171 and a touchdown.
That's my dynasty receiver right there that I added as a fill-in to trade for Najee Harris.
Chris Godwin, also a good game, 558. He's that underneath target, that safety blanket for Baker Mayfield. Kate Otten, 6 for 41. Just
And what a game from Rashad White.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Shout out my boy, bro.
Really happy he was on my fantasy bench. I don't know why I benched him, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And then I benched him.
It's a good reason. He kind of sucked.
he sucks.
Yeah.
He's
But
still not good.
He's not.
Bro.
But
Just had a good
hey,
game.
We won. We pulled up the
No,
dub.
I will not respect him. He's not a good running back. He played a shit defense and had a half decent game.
He's a good pass catcher.
He's a solid pass catcher. He catches the ball, sure, but he's not a good running back. He's just not. That doesn't. One good game does not change anything for me. Chase Edmonds had a 14-yard run in this one. This shit don't mean anything.
Then he got hurt.
Edmonds, bro.
And then he got hurt.
What could have been?
What could have been?
What about Sean Tucker?
Sean Tucker, for whatever reason, 8 carries, 7 yards. But
Wow, that's crazy. He had 8 carries.
7 yards, and his long was 7 yards.
Yeah. So this motherfucker had 7 other carries where he just sat up. He just sat at the line of scrimmage. He just said, "Nah, I don't want to run anymore."
Oh,
he gave up.
And I like Sean Tucker as a player.
Good
too,
for you,
so that's-
Sean Tucker.
That's just rough, but just a great win for Tampa Bay, and the defense looks good. Through 2
Defense
weeks,
is great.
it's looked
I mean, I
really,
know they
really
played
good.
a shitty ass Bears team, but the defense is really, really, really good.
So I'm just not. I mean, no, I am definitely surprised. I must say, but yeah, I mean, currently the Bucks are 7th in EPA per play on defense at minus .131, with just a success rate of 40.5. Which is top 10 in the league as well. Just overall, phenomenal. They've been great through 2 games, and I mean, what else can we expect? You know, like, this is just, their defense is great. I guess Baker's back. Shake and bake is back, baby. So, yes. Okay, so I'll ask this question. Do we think the Bucks keep this up for the entirety of the season?
No.
Obviously not undefeated, but
I think
will they be a
can.
good football team?
I think they definitely could. I don't know. I feel like this is a thing where they're good until they prove us wrong.
Okay. I mean, for all the shit the NFC South caught, the 3-2-0 teams right now.
Yeah. It's,
3-2-0 teams right now. So
I mean, this division I think is still wide. I mean, I don't think it's as wide open. I think when push comes to shove, because we are only 2 games into the NFL season, I think the Saints and the Falcons are gonna kind of give some headway.
yeah, no, I agree. All right, just 2 more games to cover here. 49ers and the Rams. This is actually one of the ones that I also unfortunately missed. I didn't get the opportunity to go back and watch this one.
Matt Stafford looked fucking elite this game. He looked insane.
30-23 is the final score. San Fran beat the Rams, and yeah, go ahead, get us started, Ortiz. I mean, unfortunately, he had 2 picks, but I know one of them went off the hands of Kyron Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the other one was. It was probably just they were down and Stafford was trying to force it. I didn't see it. I don't know what the pick was.
One of his picks was bad. One of them was a bad ball.
Yeah.
That I will say. He had 1 bad interception, but I mean, he played a Niners defense who is known to get to the quarterback and kick the shit out of him, and he only took 1 sack. He's been way more elusive in the pocket.
55 dropbacks.
Yeah. But we haven't seen Matt Stafford be this elusive in the pocket in God knows how long.
He looks so good. He really does look healthy, spry, just very young. He looks young is the best way to put it. So I don't know.
He looks super invested into this Rams team who we all thought was going to be nothing without Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. He had the second longest streak for passes thrown without an interception.
Yes, he did. In the
Also-
NFL.
Got broken.
Did you see Sean McVay call Vegas on the phone the other day? Because the line was at 7.5 for the game, and the Rams kicked the field goal down by 10 with 4 seconds left.
Yes, they did.
Saw that.
Yes, they did.
Sean McVay made the house call to Vegas and costed everyone piles.
It's so funny because even the announcers said it. They said at the end of the game, they go, "Oh, that is going to make so many people angry with their bets." And it definitely did.
It definitely did.
All right, just some of the standouts for the Rams. Obviously, the whole Cam Akers situation. The man was inactive in this game. Kyron Williams stepped in admirably. He didn't average an amazing yards per carry, only 3.7, but he had a touchdown and
We're playing
caught
the Niners.
a touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns in this game, 6 receptions, 48 yards on 10 targets. So Kyron's the real deal, I think, in fantasy football now. It's his backfield for sure. Nobody else is taking anything from him. And another guy that's the real deal. We wanted to see if he could do it 2 games in a row and against the best defense in the NFL. And the guy comes out as 20 targets, 15 receptions, 147 yards. Still no touchdowns.
Boo. So
But-
he has the most receptions ever in a player's first 2 starts.
Yeah.
That's
You know what's
insane.
crazy?
By a 5th-round pick.
So Matt Stafford put up whatever counting stats you said he put up. Puka got involved. Tutu got involved. Matt Stafford was 26th this week in EPA per play. Only people behind him: Bryce Young, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, who we're going to talk about, Ken Pickett, Zachary Wilson, and Watson. So Matt Stafford wasn't that efficient, which is kind of crazy because he looked good at
He did look
like,
good.
watching
Yeah,
the game.
it's the thing. He threw the ball 55 times. That's
20,
a lot.
26 in success rate. I mean, his completion percentage was good, 65%. It's not
It also
bad.
goes to the pick, which one of them was Kyron Williams'
2
fault.
picks. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't put too much. That's why sometimes I look at the stats and I'm like, sometimes this eye test does actually do me some good.
Yeah.
Stafford does look healthy and spry.
Yeah, I mean, watching him they look really good watching Matt Stafford. He's playing like a top 5 QB in the NFL right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that statement. Crazy enough. Hopefully Cooper Kupp does come back and does come back healthy because
He's
Puka
taking
and Cooper.
he's taking the back seat to Puka.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Cup.
Puka and Cooper is gonna be the greatest receiving duo of all time. I can't wait. I'm very excited. 2 super cool names, too. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. Just great names. I'm very excited to see what they look like when the both of them are healthy. And Tutu Atwell, once again, seems like he's going to be a legit asset this year. After having a very underwhelming rookie season, Tutu looks like he's a real player. And the Rams just seem to draft the coolest names ever. You have Tutu, Puka, and Cooper Kupp. Just super
Can't forget
odd.
about Van Jefferson.
Van Jefferson, Ben Skowronek. Just what is going on in this wide receiver room? So, yeah, just a hell of a game. And once again, I mean, I got to say on defense, they played a pretty solid game against this Niners team. But I will say, from what I did watch of this game, Brock Purdy missed 2 really wide open deep balls. And I didn't love that. I didn't love that. Because you know who would make those throws? Sam Darnold. Sam
Trey
Darnold
Lance.
would make those throws. Yeah, all right, bro. He would have shot it past the fucking field goal post in the end zone, to be honest.
That would still be pretty impressive, though.
Christian McCaffrey, another impressive game. What else do we expect at this point?
That
Debo's-
first touchdown, he bodied defenders
that
Oh my
was
god,
getting
bro.
into the end zone.
Oh my god. He had a fantasy day on the first drive. He had a fantasy day on the first drive. I don't expect anything else from Christian McCaffrey anymore, to be honest. Like, he's the best running back in football, and it's just that simple. Debo had a bunch of carries in this game, and, you know, Brandon Ayuk went down twice in this one, actually.
Yeah.
Came back,
And
then
down
went back
again.
out, and then came back again. Brandon Ayuk's one super tough receiver, but yeah, I mean, hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully he's fine for next week. It was a decent game. I mean, I expect no less from the San Francisco 49ers. So just run the hell out of the football. Elijah Mitchell, no carries is surprising to me, though.
Yeah, I actually,
No involvement.
I actually just dropped him into the league. I was like, yeah, I'm done with him.
I read I heard a stat. This is the first time since 2019 that Christian McCaffrey played 100% of his team's offensive snaps this week. Wow. So you can forget about the whole McCaff not being the, getting 100%, 95% with a better rushing attack. Nope, he is the guy. Clear cut, clear as day. Nobody else is touching the football.
Yeah.
So CMC, the best fantasy asset of all time, I guess we could call him.
George Kittle's still been a big. I mean, we're only 2 games into the season, but there was still a lot of high hopes for
He's been
George
dealing
Kittle.
with injuries, though.
Yeah, but everyone had expected George Kittle to kind of boom with Brock Purdy as the QB. So we're still waiting for his breakout
did.
game.
I didn't. Not because of Brock, but just because of the fact that there's so many mouths to feed in this offense. So, I don't know. Interesting. 49ers are the real deal. Rams are a hell of a lot better than I think any of us expected them to be.
Most
so
definitely
hung in with the Niners for most of this game. The 2 turnovers changed things a little bit, but, just a hell of a game. So, all right. We got to talk about this. The game that had the highest over-under of the week had the lowest score of the week. And that's the Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
What a stinker of a game.
What a rough one this was. The Chiefs didn't even end up scoring till, I believe it was late in the second quarter. It was just an ugly one. Defensive battle. Sky Moore had a big game. Finally had his game.
Tony with a bounce back. He had 5 catches. At least he could catch the ball.
Yeah, on 5 targets.
Yeah.
No
Very
drops
efficient.
in this one.
So far in the season, he's 5 for 9.
Yeah, I mean, overall, just I don't even know what I take away from this game. I don't want to take away anything from this game except Chris Jones is fucking back. Might I add? He had a 48% pressure. I think he had a 48% pass rush win rate in this game, which is just ridiculous, by the way. And he was dominant. It looked amazing. It was amazing. Both these defenses are really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Both these defenses are really, really good. So
Isaiah Pacheco had a solid game.
he did. Ran all over them. 12 for 70. They didn't commit to the run in this game, which was very confusing to me. I didn't understand that, especially with how efficient Pacheco was in this one. Granted, he had 1 carry for 31 yards, and the rest was pretty much 11 for 39. I don't know. The Chiefs have shown no commitment to the run this year, and that doesn't make any sense to me either. So I don't know. Help out Mahomes in some sort of way. That's what I got for this one.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Shout out to Chris Jones for being back and being dominant. I think he was the 2nd highest graded player on PFF this week behind Micah Parsons. And the Jags offense was just off. Trevor Lawrence, 0 for 7 passing in the red zone. First time a quarterback's done that since 2006. They were just off. And, I wouldn't be concerned yet. You just added a new piece in Calvin Ridley. So, week 1 was exceptional for them, but it might take some time to gel. You went up against a really good Chiefs defense. So be patient, Jaguars fans. It's going to come. It'll click. I'm not concerned at all. It's tough that you lose a game where the defense only gives up 17 points to an elite Kansas City Chiefs team, but shit happens.
Yep. And might I add, Christian Kirk.
Bounce
Big
back
game.
yeah.
Big bounce back
You said
game.
to
I was
drop
incredibly wrong. I take that 100%. He had 11 receptions, 110
They
yards.
said to drop him, so
Yeah.
I started him.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, I mean, Christian
And
Kirk had a
hey,
big-time week. So
He's a passer now. He's a QB. He went 1 for 1 with -1 yards with a higher QB rating than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. That's about what
Is that
happened in this game.
possible?
Nah, he didn't have. He did have a
He
higher
did, but-
QB rating. He had a lower QBR, but a higher QB rating. Trevor Lawrence had a rough one in this one.
22 for 41. Just simply not going to get it done.
Yeah, it just wasn't a pretty game.
Also, the offense was just abysmal outside of Christian Kirk. There was no run game established. ETN averaged 3 1/3 a carry.
Might
Just
I
a
just
very
add,
blah game.
the most back of the end zone almost get the feet in plays I think I've ever seen in my entire life in a single game. Calvin Ridley had 3 of them. Zay Jones had 2 of them. It was rough. Scrap this game if you're both teams, I think. Move on next week. Got to be a better week. So, all right. Do we have – oh, boy. Yeah, we do.
We have 2 more games,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about this one. This one's disgusting.
Not much to say.
You know where I'm at right
That's what
now,
we
right?
expected.
Sorry, Jets fans.
It's over. It's over.
Hey, at least you didn't lose by 40.
At least Luke Shoemaker caught his first NFL touchdown
Yeah.
on his first catch.
Dak was
So-
balling the fuck out, might I add, too.
Dallas so far this season has beaten New York 70-10.
30-10, the Cowboys beat the Jets. My notes from this game, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Cowboys once again prove they are the best defense in the NFL. It doesn't matter that they were going against Zach Wilson. Micah Parsons is the best defensive player in football, and it is not particularly close.
Nope.
He had another 6 pressures in this game, 2 sacks, forced a fumble. His running mate on the other side, DeMarcus Lawrence, also added another 6 pressures. I mean, this defensive line is just incredible. Oso Digizua also was incredible in this game. I mean, Trayvon Diggs looks like he's taken that leap. I'm not going to lie. Trayvon Diggs, I know it's just 2 games in. I know the first game the Giants had no receivers, but he was lined up a good amount against an elite receiver in Garrett Wilson, and he definitely held his own. Obviously, Garrett Wilson had that really long one for the touchdown, but Trayvon Diggs looks the part so far this season. He had 2 passes defended. You know, the problem with Trayvon Diggs was always just like, can he hold his own and just locking down on coverage? We know what he could do playing the ball, and so far he looks like he's taking that jump. If Trayvon Diggs is going to be an elite shutdown corner, then the league is in trouble.
Yeah, him and Stephon Gilmore as bookends is just not even fair. With Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Osa Digizua, it's not okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a single note for the Jets. Honestly, I thought that was going to be our good friend Wagner's thing. That's why I didn't write any notes for the Jets, because I didn't care enough to. I thought he was going to have a long monologue already.
Shout out
about, Sauce Gardner on Twitter.
I'm sure he did.
Brees Hall not getting the
Brees
ball.
only had 4 carries. And
CD
Dalvin
had
Cook.
a huge game. Yeah, I mean, Dalvin Cook. And what are we doing with the Brees situation, bro? Why does he only have 4 carries in this goddamn game? So
4 football emojis.
yeah,
Tweet.
it's rough. The Jets are falling apart very quickly right now. Not
because of
looking
hard
too
knocks.
good.
Zach Wilson had more rushes than Brees Hall.
Yeah, I mean, apparently Sauce was not as bad as people were making it out to be on Twitter. The dude only got targeted once. It wasn't all that bad.
He went up to Dak after the game and asked why he didn't throw to his side. He said he didn't want to throw it to the best player in football.
It's so cap.
Yeah, he's glazing the shit out of Sauce Gardner, bro. But yeah, him and Mike are besties, if you saw that after the game too. So I don't know. It is what it is, man. The Jets had a rough one this week. They felt the pain that the Giants felt last week. So I will say that
At
much.
least it wasn't to that extent.
No, it wasn't. At least you guys didn't lose by 40.
So you
all right.
guys like Dean's here.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's Jets fans. All right, the last game, Chris's Miami Dolphins held on against the Patriots, winning by a score of 24-17. I gotta say, the Patriots are lacking the one explosive weapon. They don't have it. They don't have it downfield. A lot of this was methodically throwing it underneath, completion after completion after completion, and they just couldn't find the one big play that was going to change the momentum of the entire game.
I mean, I'm piggybacking off your point a little bit. The New England receivers, there was not a single ball longer than 15 yards. Not a single play that went over 15 yards.
There you go.
They had 0 boom plays in an entire football game. You're not going to win games.
It was looking ugly through 3 quarters. I think it was 17-3 or something like that through 3 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, big shout out to the Patriots defense. They always find a way to lock in, and you can never count on a Bill Belichick defense.
They always shut down one guy, and this game it was Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
He still found the end zone, though.
Yeah, I mean, he always does. Can't
So
help
here's
it.
the thing.
Oh,
I tried to tell you guys. Bill Belichick, this big, scary guy, he's going to come up with this whole big game plan. But the thing is, you cannot game plan for Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Tua Tagovailoa.
And Raheem Mostert.
You are not going to be able to shut down all 3 of those guys. And Tua, the box score isn't the prettiest. It's definitely not as pretty as week 1. 21 for 30, a tud, a pick that was definitely questionable. And definitely showed his flaw, too, because there was not a lot of juice under that ball. But,
not at all.
But Tua was shredding this defense. Bill Belichick's big old game plan was, let's put 3 safeties out there. Let's not allow anything over the top. And that is a foolish mistake. That's a foolish mistake when you're going against a Mike McDaniel-led offense and a Tua Tagovailoa-led offense. Yes, Tua has these great weapons that could beat you over the top. But what is Tua Tagovailoa's bread and butter? Anyone? What's his bread and butter?
Accuracy.
Hey, he's
Accuracy
accurate underneath,
and the
man.
quick intermediate
Straight over the
game.
middle, yeah.
And he was shredding them. Braxton Berrios looked elite. I mean, there was that ball that Tua threw to fucking Berrios in the red zone.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
Come on. It doesn't get better than that. And then Raheem Mostert. I mean, you're gonna put 3 safeties in the game. We're gonna just run it outside. And then when you're least expecting it, with the game on the line, our offense stalled a little bit in the second half. You guys made some cool special teams plays, made it a game. When we need it the most, you've been giving us the outside run all game. What are we gonna do? We're gonna run that bitch inside. Raheem Mostert shows off the speed for his second tud of the day. And this Miami Dolphins defense, I tried to tell everyone. And, maybe I looked like a clown after week 1 after what Jay Herbo did to them. But, man, no Jalen Phillips in this game. No Jalen Ramsey still. And this defense was dominant. They said Xavier Howard was washed. My man had an interception. We're gonna praise.
You gotta pick.
We're gonna praise Christian Gonzalez for his interception.
Christian Gonzalez had a lockdown
He
game
did,
overall.
but we're gonna praise him for his interception. We're gonna praise the X-Man for his interception, and the edge duo of Andrew Van Ginkel. I never thought I'd be saying that.
God.
Andrew Van Ginkel, and finally, thank you to the Lord. Thank you, Lord, because Bradley Chubb showed up and played a football game. And you know when it started? It started when he didn't give up on the play. And he chased that dude down, Douglas, the rookie, and poked that ball.
was bad.
He said, boop, poke that ball out.
That was bad.
Forced the fumble. And that got Bradley Chubb going. He had a ton of pressures in this game. Andrew Van Ginkel was all over the place. This was just a complete win for the Dolphins. And honestly, this is a win that makes me even happier than the Chargers win. Because we proved that we can win football games in multiple ways. And now everyone's going to say, oh, the Patriots aren't good. You should have won this game. Everyone and their mother was projecting the Patriots to beat the Dolphins this week. Everyone and their mother. And I will say, the Patriots do suck. Their offense sucks. But this was a game that the Dolphins could have easily lost. But they showed composure. Mike McDaniel showed why he is one of the top 5 play callers in the entire NFL. Top 3 maybe even. And the defense did enough to get the job done. And shout out to Schooler for that fucking blocked kick, because that was insane.
That was pretty cool.
That was one of the coolest football plays ever seen, until the last play of the game where Mike Gesicki threw it back to the offensive line. Man.
Holy shit.
Bro,
Oh my God. I thought it was a first.
he was literally a ball hair short
Yeah.
of the first down. It was insane.
Why don't teams do that more with the field goals?
That was the first time.
That was the first time
That was the first time
done that.
anyone's ever lined
So
up.
simple.
mad
Everyone
far.
and their mother is going to try and do it now. And Pat McAfee was talking about it, I think, this morning, how normally when people are going to block the kick, they'll look at the center, the snapper, for their cue, because normally right before they snap the ball, they'll either look up or look down. But he thought the cue was actually the holder, because the holder looks at the kicker, says, you good to go? He says he's good. He comes back, and then he did a deep breath almost, and he kind of hunched forward like this. And as soon as he hunched forward, Schooler fucking took off. That was
play
cool, man.
was
That was cool.
nuts.
I mean, it's not going to be replicated again, though. Dudes are going to, I'm sure a
No,
bunch of
everyone's
teams are
gonna
going to try
try.
it next
Yes.
week, and they're going to get a bunch of flags. for
So many flags.
every neutral encroachment zone defense.
yeah,
Yo,
but
that's
we got
why-
to see it. That was cool, man.
That's why
Yeah.
Bill's Bill. That's why Bill is.
That's why Bill is Bill.
Bill,
Starting
Bill,
the season
Bill.
off at 0-2, you have no fucking offense. That's why Bill is Bill.
Okay, I
Bill,
gotta
Bill,
say,
Bill,
I
Bill,
gotta
Bill.
say, I also didn't. Again, I didn't think Mac Jones played a bad game.
Not
I
at all.
really didn't think Mac Jones played a bad game.
I don't know what else he's supposed to do. The interception was definitely not the best
Yes,
of reads.
for
but,
sure, not a
you know,
great read at
Tua had
all.
an interception too. So
But
cancels out.
yeah, I put here. I said Mac was once again solid. There's just no downfield threat on this offense. You don't have to worry about it. And Mac was happily taking everything underneath, but it's just to a point you need that one play. You do. And they don't have that aspect of their offense. And the Dolphins stopped the run, which was a huge deal in this game as well. Ramondre Stevenson only 3.3 yards per carry. It was a big time game. So
Also 3.3 yards through the air.
Yeah, it was rough. It was definitely a rough one.
The longest play of the day for the Patriots was a Mac Jones run for 18 yards.
If Mac has your longest play,
You're not going to win many football games with Mac
Yeah,
Jones is leading your boom plays with a 18-yard run.
so yeah. And then people forget, Mike McDaniel was the run game coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, who had one of the best rushing attacks consistently. So if you're going to take away that deep shot and you're not leaving many guys in that box, he's not afraid to run the football. So shout out
God.
Raheem Mostert,
That
baby.
box.
You guys see fucking Mike McDaniel at halftime?
Yo,
When he turned on the Jets.
sprinted.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, he was
Sprinted.
That's my
looked at the camera and said,
that's my coach.
He's one of the funniest
love
dudes in the NFL, bro. One of the funniest dudes.
Nah, I
in the NFL.
mean,
and he's been historically good against the Patriots. I think it's
Yeah.
like he's like 5-1 or 5-0 against the Patriots.
yeah.
5-0, yeah.
the Pats always hit on corners too, might I add. As
Yeah.
Christian Gonzalez was the
Christian
highest, had the highest
yeah,
coverage
he's-
grade in I believe among all corners this week in PF.
Tyler
according to
Duggar
PFF.
looked good too.
Yes. So these dudes, they just know how to draft in the
Shout out
secondary.
to Matt Judon too. Matt Judon a
Big
few
game.
times in coverage too,
Yep.
which was pretty awesome to see. But that's it, man. That's week 2. I'm 6-0. The Dolphins, the Falcons, and the Commanders. I'm 6-0. I'm off to a great start. I
1-1.
couldn't
I'm-
be happier.
I'm 1-1, and we have no running back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What are you, Trunks?
0-2.
I don't know, really.
The Colts.
You're 0-2.
I guess
You're a
0-2.
Colts fan. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're 0-2.
I guess.
I'm a Bills fan too, so I'm 2-2. Let's go. But yeah, that was a great week 2 of football.
Yeah.
More
It was.
touchdowns that
Yeah.
we saw.
We've been going for a while though, so we're gonna kind of speed through the rest of this.
Yes.
Wow,
You
we've
guys-
been live for so long.
Yeah. You guys have been in the chat this whole time. I've been trying to answer all your questions without kind of interrupting the flow of the podcast. But now we're going to go into fantasy stuff. We're going to go into our starts and sits of the week for week 3. If you guys have any questions about trades, start sits, waiver wire, drop them in. We're, happy to answer them. This is the time we're going to be looking at the chat to answer those questions. But someone hit that intro.
Who won? Oh, all right. Who's your fantasy football start of the week?
I'll get it started. My start of the week this week is going to be Mike Williams. Going against that terrible Minnesota Vikings secondary. I mean, I think this is going to be a trend for me. Start pass catchers versus the Vikings. Mike Williams had a good game this past week, put up 16 points, was pretty involved. So I think Mike Williams is going to have a big day, and he's going to get into the end zone this week against the Vikings.
So my start of the week comes from the same game. I'm going with Alexander Madison against the Chargers. Chargers are not a good defense. Alexander Madison hasn't had a good season so far through 2 weeks. I think this is where he has his breakout game. I think he's going to have a big game.
Go ahead, Ortiz.
My start of the week is actually Jackson Smith in Jigba. I think with the Seahawks going into Carolina, they're going to have their hands filled with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. It's kind of going to leave the field open for JSN to kind of have a big boom game.
So my start of the week is a guy that I just spoke about before. I said it wasn't looking too good for him. It's Kyle Pitts. I feel like it has to turn around at some point. And Kyle Pitts is going to turn it around this week. The Lions have been prone to giving up some receptions to tight ends, especially this week against the Seahawks. Multiple tight ends with multiple catches. And week 1, Noah Gray had his way a little bit as well. So I think that sounds crazy. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I think Kyle Pitts has a big week this week, and the Desmond Ridder Kyle Pitts connection gets itself going.
Nice.
Do we all say it? Yeah, we did all say it. All right. Now for sits.
Why did you do this to me?
What?
I don't remember who it was though.
I didn't do anything. That wasn't me.
No, it's Rashad White.
Oh yes, yes. Oh
Well,
my
I guess
God.
you might as well get it started then.
All right. So, who is your fantasy football sit of the week? My sit is Rashad White. First of all, I don't think he's a good running back. I just don't. He's inefficient, and I've just consistently been on the train of Rashad White is just an inefficient back that lives off pass catching, and maybe he'll get a touchdown here and there. Well, guess who he's playing this week? One of the top 5 rush defenses in all football. Dudes can't run on them, and it's the Philadelphia Eagles. Inefficient back. plus best run defense in the entire NFL. I think it's 12 carries for 13 yards.
That sounds like a good sit to me.
Nice.
So
My sit of the week. I know he's been great this season in fantasy. I know. No, not that guy.
You're sitting Mike Charlo in fantasy football this week.
All right. All right. I know he hasn't been. Shut up. All right. I know he's been good this season so far in fantasy, but based on their matchup this week, I'm sitting James Conner. They're playing the Cowboys. Best defense in the league. James Conner plays on the Cardinals. They're probably going to get fucked in this game. They're not going to run the ball much. I don't think James Conner's going to have a big week.
Good way to put it.
Yeah.
My sit of the week also comes from the Arizona Cardinals, and it's Hollywood Brown.
I play for the Cardinals now?
Oh no, it's Matt Sullivan and Hollywood Brown. I'm
Nice.
sitting you because you're not an NFL player,
Okay.
and I'm sitting Hollywood Brown because no matter where he goes tomorrow, he's going to face two of the best corners in the NFL, and it's going to be tough, especially with Joshua Dobbs getting 0.3 seconds to throw the ball. It's going to be a recipe for disaster for the Cardinals.
My sit of the week is going to be Dameon Pierce. It's been rough for him so far to start the season. Feel bad for the guy almost, but the Texans, their O-line is banged up. They're going up against the Jaguars. It's time to fade Dameon Pierce. It hasn't been a good start to the season.
Chris, it says here that you have a different sit of the week.
We're not going to say that.
We're
What do you
not,
mean?
but you have a different sit of the week.
What do you mean? I don't even see that.
That's horrible.
I'm confused.
That's actually horrible. But yeah, so that's our fantasy football starts and sits of the week.
All right.
Any of you guys have any fantasy questions? You guys were dropping them the whole time.
Who are some waiver wire pickups that we're intrigued by? Well, Jerome Ford is pretty obvious.
Yeah, I just picked up Jerome Ford in a few leagues.
Jerome Ford is pretty obvious.
Zach Moss.
Zach Moss, if you haven't
he's-
already picked him up.
Matt Breida's another one.
Matt Breida is another one.
Not for
Dude,
next week because they're playing. Not for Thursday because they're playing the Niners.
Yeah,
So,
due to Saquon. If Josh Reynolds hasn't been picked up in your league because he's available in 78% of leagues, go pick him up. He's clearly been the number 2 for the Detroit Lions.
That's really it.
I'll throw an
Jaden
interesting
Reed.
one out there. And this isn't one of the top ones. Kendra Miller. If he's been dropped in your leagues, I think he's a very interesting pickup. I'd give Kendra Miller a look as a stash on your bench. So
Yeah.
those are some of the thoughts for me.
Jaden Reed he had 2 tuds in this game.
Yep.
But Christian Watson should be back, so I don't know how I feel about that one.
Tank
You're-
Dell.
You're in one of those deeper leagues. I love Josh Downs. I think he's gonna get going as the season goes on. That's really it. Not much quarterback wise. I mean, I'm looking at it right now in B2B league. Matt Stafford's on waivers. Go get Matt Stafford if you need a quarterback.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett could be a good stream this week.
Sam
potentially.
Howell could be a good stream.
Sam Howell against Buffalo. Yeah, I don't know about all that.
We're gonna fucking beat them.
No, you're not.
Sold out game in Washington.
Do you
want to
put money on that game?
No.
Okay.
Put like $10 on it.
I'll put $10 on it.
Bet.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I don't know. That's rough, man. That's rough. I wouldn't take it against the Bills. Allen's got it figured out now. It's over.
Allen can't stop Sam Howell.
They don't.
That's
you're right.
true.
The defense stops Sam Howell, and this is the best defense that Sam Howell is going to face to this point. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
he played a really stout Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
Mad good Denver Broncos. Go ahead.
Guess the team based on their players' week 2 fantasy finishes.
Yo, say that shit again, but say guess the NFL team.
Say
Sorry.
it with some gusto.
I'll be so late to class.
It's all right.
Guess the NFL team based on their players' week 2 fantasy finishes.
That was with gusto.
Yes. Team 1, quarterback 25, running back 13, wide receiver 1. No. Wide receiver 1 is 32, wide receiver 2 is 75, and their tight end is 7.
What was the quarterback?
25.
With a good tight end.
Doesn't necessarily have to be
Well,
a good
no,
tight
well,
end.
a good tight end on the week.
What was the
On
wrong?
the
I'm
week.
gonna go with Mac Jones. The New
Jones.
England Patriots.
No.
Oh.
It's just week 2. It's not through 2 weeks. It's just
No, I know.
What was wide receiver 1?
32.
Oh, that's low.
Wait, no, I lied. This is through 2 weeks. I lied.
Oh my God, Tricali.
So what is it?
Through 2 weeks.
Do that intro again.
Yeah, my bad. I just realized. All right. Guess the NFL team based on their players' stats through week 2. No.
No.
Guess the NFL team based on their players' fantasy stats through week 2.
Better.
Fantasy rankings.
Guess the NFL team based off their players' fantasy rankings through week 2.
Oh my
Rankings.
fucking God!
You said
You said
raking.
rankings.
You said
Like you
Like-
go
like
outside and
leaves.
rake the leaves.
You rake. It's fall. Come on. I get it, but let's go. Do this.
Guess the NFL team based on their players' fantasy rankings through week 2.
Good.
Thank you.
awesome. All right.
Fuck.
So it was
Good
what? The
segment, guys.
quarterback 25,
Yeah.
the running back
13.
13.
I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Rams.
No.
What about the Commanders?
No.
All right.
Howell's higher than that, right?
Yeah, he is higher than that, my boy. That was disrespectful.
I would have said. No.
You can say it.
Nah, because it's not them.
Okay.
It's a waste of a guess.
What if it's them?
Wait.
Just say it. You're not.
No.
I'm not
no,
counting your
it's
guesses.
Not that. It's not that.
How about the Buccaneers? No, right?
No.
I was actually gonna guess the Buccaneers.
Wait. The Carolina Panthers.
No.
Fuck. This is bad.
Maybe this was
Cincinnati Bengals.
No.
a weak for tight end.
This is so bad.
I'm gonna go the Jacksonville Jaguars.
No.
Okay. No, New Orleans Saints,
No.
the Miami Dolphins,
No.
Just start throwing teams
The
out there, I
Commanders?
guess.
No.
the Broncos,
No.
Is
the
it
Jets.
Is it the Cleveland Browns?
No.
Is it the Jets?
No.
Is it the Cowboys?
No.
It's not the Eagles. It's not
No, it's not the
It's not
Eagles.
the Rams. Is it the Niners?
No.
I'm going through every team. So
How about the Lions?
No.
The Seattle Seahawks?
No.
Yo,
is this the Green Bay Packers?
No.
It's not Kirk and the Minnesota Vikings. I know. I just said
The
that.
Las Vegas Raiders.
No.
Holy.
The Arizona Cardinals.
The Arizona
Let's go.
Cardinals.
Let's go.
We only named 25 teams.
Team 2. Quarterback 14, running back 15, wide receiver 1 is 4, wide receiver 2 is 49, tight end 15.
Wide receiver 4.
The Cowboys.
Ooh,
Quarterback was what again?
14.
the Detroit Lions.
No.
The Rams.
No.
The Vikings.
No.
So I said that we said the Cowboys, the Rams, the Vikings, and what was the other team we said? The Lions.
The Lions.
All right. So who else would be a top 4
It's not the
fantasy wide
Bengals.
receiver? The Bills.
No.
It's not the Dolphins, right?
No.
Just making sure.
Oh, Lord have mercy. This is terrible.
The New Orleans Saints.
No.
No. Top 4 fantasy receiver.
I thought maybe Olave could.
No.
What's the quarterback?
14.
The running back is 15?
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks.
No.
Fuck. Wait, nah, Tyler Lockett's not that high after that. Oh, boy.
Y'all suck.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
How about no?
Is it?
This is so
No.
bad.
I was gonna say the Eagles, but it's not the Eagles.
It's not. Wait.
No.
Yeah. Bro, I feel like wide receiver 4.
Y'all don't know ball.
I'm not trying to look at teams either. That's the thing.
I'm looking at teams.
No.
What do you mean? No, you didn't. You didn't even say one.
That's what I'm in my head.
Is it the Buccaneers?
It's the Buccaneers.
Nice.
Oh wow,
I got one
Mike
more.
Evans,
Evans.
wide receiver 4.
Do you want one more?
Yeah, the-
Yeah, why not?
Team 3. Quarterback 12, running back 3, wide receiver 1 is 45, wide receiver 2 is 67, tight end 9.
The Atlanta Falcons.
No.
Wait, why would Desmond Ritter be that high?
What was the running back? You said
3.
3, okay. Is this the Atlanta Falcons?
I
Did you just say Falcons?
Yes.
I don't listen to them.
It's the Falcons. No.
Is this the Atlanta Falcons? It changed.
What's the quarterback?
It was the way he said
12.
it. He thought that he'd intimidate you into making it the Atlanta Falcons. Oh,
We've been
shit.
live for 3 hours.
That's golden. I don't know. Wait. No, it's not the 49ers.
It could be the 49ers.
It's not.
No.
Ayuk had a 28-point
Oh,
week
yeah.
1.
That's a nuts noise you're making.
Is it the Rams?
No.
Nah, Puka would be higher than.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot about Puka. I was thinking Kyron Williams.
Mhm. That was, yeah, I thought that too. Then I thought
Forgot
about
about
Puka.
what's the wide receiver one? 40s, right?
45.
Fuck. I was going to say the Browns.
The
No.
Tennessee Titans.
No.
Are we sure it's not the Atlanta Falcons?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
RB3, bro. It's. Come on. No, it's not the Cowboys. It's.
Wait. No. This is really bad.
Yeah, this isn't.
I liked this one because
Oh man.
I was surprised, honestly. I'll just say that.
Not anyone in the NFC South. Nobody in the NFC East.
It can be a real team. I went
NFC
through all
West.
the teams.
It can't be the Packers.
Nope.
No.
It's not an NFC North team. It's not an NFC West team
No.
It's not an
NFC East or
or
North.
South. It's not
I mean,
an
North,
NFC
South,
team.
yeah.
I don't think
It's
it's, an
not a-
AFC North team.
It's not an AFC North team. It's not an AFC West team. No way Eckler's still the R. No, it can't be an AFC West team.
No.
It's not an AFC South team.
Is this team in the XFL?
And it's not an AFC East team either, bro.
Oh, it's one of them. It's one of the
It
teams.
literally can't.
No,
All right,
it is.
just give us a fucking conference.
AFC or NFC.
It's AFC, ain't it?
He doesn't know.
Oh, fucking
He doesn't
You know I'm
fucking
not good
know.
with that. All right. I'll tell you in a second.
Just tell us what team it is.
Jesus Christ. Just give it up.
Do you want me to just give you a big hint?
Yeah, sure.
Just give us the context.
It's one of your 3 teams. Out of all the teams that all of you like, it's one of the teams.
Oh, Chris has 8 of them.
Is it
He
the
has 3.
Giants?
He has
No.
I knew it wasn't
not the
Giants.
Browns.
No.
So it has to be one of your
Oh
teams.
my God.
Is
Oh
it
my
the
God.
Is it the commies?
It's the
Commanders.
Wow.
He's the
Brian Robinson's the
RB3.
RB3.
The RB3.
Many men. Many,
Holy
many
shit.
men.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh,
crazy.
Death upon Brian
Jahan
Robinson Jr.
Dotson, just a disappointment this season for me. I'm not gonna lie. All right, is that everything?
I wanted to ask you guys a question, but we've been here for
No,
too
go
long.
ahead.
What's
Wait,
the
quick,
question?
Ask the question. We've been here for that
All right.
long.
I want you guys. I don't know if any of you saw this on Instagram or Twitter. I want you guys to guess the top 3 fantasy point scorers through 2 weeks so far.
Christian McCaffrey.
No,
Puka Nacua.
Puka's second.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill's 1.
Mhm.
I want you to guess number 3.
It's not Jettas then, because if you're telling me to guess it, it's not Jay Jettas.
No.
Has to be someone completely random. If he says, you guys have to guess it.
It's definitely someone completely random.
Um,
You're never gonna guess it, honestly. But
It's not Brian Robinson.
no.
Is it a quarterback?
No.
Is it Dallas defense?
Wow.
Yes.
Dallas
Yep.
defense. All right. Nice.
There you go.
Yep.
Good shit, bro.
Thanks.
No problem, man.
I know balls.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the
Wait,
fucking
are
end.
we? Do you want to do your top 3?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I do want to do it. Shit. All right. NFL power rankings post week 2. My rankings haven't changed from last. Actually, my rankings have changed from last week. I'm giving the Eagles the boot. At 3, I have the Dolphins. impressive win over the Patriots. At 2, I still have the 49ers. And at 1, it's still the Dallas Cowboys.
I have almost the same thing, except I have the 49ers at 1, the Cowboys at 2, and the Dolphins at 3.
I have the Cowboys at 1, the Niners at 2, and it's kind of hard not to put the Dolphins in there. I kind of have to agree with Chris's list. Good power rankings, Chris.
All right, hold up, because I don't want to just hand it to the Dolphins because my top 2 hasn't changed.
Actually, to be different, I'm sorry. I'll put the Ravens in as my number 3 team.
At 1,
just to be different.
At 1, I have the Cowboys. At 2, I have the San Francisco 49ers. At 3, I think I have to agree with you, Ortiz. I'm gonna go with the Baltimore Ravens at 3.
Nice. All right. NFL MVP ladder post week 2. At 3, I'm going to throw Jalen Hurts in there. Thought he had a really great game against the Vikings, especially the counting sets, having the 2 rushing touchdowns. At 2, I'm going to move Tua down to 2. He just wasn't as dominant against the Patriots. Even though he was still great in my opinion, he just wasn't as dominant. At number 1, it has to be Micah Parsons. He has been the best player in all of football through 2 weeks.
At 3, I also have Jalen Hurts. At 2, I have Micah Parsons. And at 1, I have Tua.
Go ahead, buddy.
After you go first.
All right. It wasn't a massive statistical week, but just because of how I feel watching the man play right now, he's making me feel special inside. I'm not gonna lie. Like at 3, I have Lamar Jackson. At 3, I have Lamar Jackson, making me feel all I don't even know, like giddy inside. I guess giddy. Josh Giddy. So Lamar's making me act up a little bit this season. So Lamar at 3. At 2, I'm gonna put Tua. And at 1, yeah. I mean, Chris said it. Last week I didn't have him because, I don't think a defensive player can win the MVP. But right now, if the season ended today, a defensive player would win the MVP. And Micah Parsons deserves to be up there.
At my number 3 slot, the touchdowns aren't there, but I feel like the eye test is I have Matt Stafford creeping as my number 3 cube for MVP ladder. For 2, I have to give it to Tua. And 1, like you guys said, crazy for a defensive player to win the MVP, but Micah Parsons is right now the most valuable player in the National Football League.
He has been that good. It's simple. If you make an MVP power ranking and you don't have Micah Parsons at 1 right now, you simply don't know ball.
Facts.
Yeah, Trunks.
Facts.
I had him at 2.
Facts. You're a bum.
Okay.
F you, Trunks. All right, well, big shout out to our sponsors over at Thrive Fantasy. We will be doing our bets on Friday.
Did anyone hit?
Thrive Fantasy?
I did not hit my Thrive.
Jamar Chase. No.
I was 10 away with a certain guy a quarter and a half into the game. Unfortunately, didn't finish the game. It's Nick Chubb. I got scummed. I would have hit for the second time.
I think Nick Chubb got more scummed. But
Well, yeah. For sure. But shout out to Thrive Fantasy. They'll match your first deposit of up to $250 with code BallGamePod. Again, your first deposit match of $250. Free money. Make sure you jump in on that. They also give a free square to new users, so be sure.
Bunch of promos. I mean, he just sent me out the promos for this week. Let me see. For Thursday night, it's a free Christian McCaffrey square, 0.5 rushing yards. For Sunday night, it's a Najee Harris free square, 0.5 rushing yards. Maybe stay away from that.
You might get
one.
negative.
And
might get negative.
And then for Monday night, it's a Jalen Hurts 0.5 passing yards square. And those are only for new users. So you guys not only get the deposit match up to $250, but you get a free square on your first entry.
Even
It's
if you
free
just
money.
want to do 2 squares, you get 1 free square on that, and it's an easy bet from there. But
find
yeah,
another lock.
they're the hottest up-and-coming sports app on the market, so be sure to check out Thrive Fantasy. They've updated the interface of the app multiple times already. It looks gorgeous. It's sick. It's a great app, and they're only improving. So be ready, be on the lookout, and jump in before the hype train, fully gets off the rails.
Honestly, something I have to say about Thrive is when we first started, like you said, the interface and everything, the app seems so much more seamless to use.
Oh
now.
my God, so
It's-
much more
From
simple.
when we first started using it, the creators of the app done a hell of a job. So keep up the good work over there. Thrive.
Big shout out to the guys over at Thrive. And then our other partners over at SeatGeek. SeatGeek, obviously, as you all know, is the best ticketing app on the market. Oh my God, I can't English today. We've been on for a while. They grade each deal on a scale of 1 to 10, with green being a good deal, red being a bad deal. For first purchase, you get $20 off if you use the code BallGamePod. Again, that is on your first purchase with SeatGeek. You get $20 off if you use the code BallGamePod. Thank you guys over at SeatGeek. Really appreciate y'all for partnering up with us. All right. So this was a long one.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check out all those other videos that we've posted in the past. And with that,
BallGame.